cutting all the bad vibes, all the bad energy. This is Squeezy. This song needs a solution. You give us the problem, now give us the solution. Get the solution tonight. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Die the trend nowadays. But the reward for badness is either the jail or an early grave. The things we teach the kids at home, they're going and practice it out there. So let's teach them some love and some manners so they can treat people the right way. Don't tell me nothing about no hardship you're going through. For why your child and have no moral values. Correct them when they do something wrong. Don't defend them and make no ignorant excuse. We have a sad situation out here plaguing the nation. Teach the kids the right thing from young. So I went and had to sing this song about Mama. Yeah. Mama good son, now they're gone down. We would cry for no justice, for the wickedness he do them.
Justice.
He would never be a problem.
Justice.
For all the time to run up in the school when he bully people, children, and he make himself a fool.
Justice.
He could have turned out a doctor.
Justice.
Or a building contractor.
Justice.
So give the youths them the guidance what they need on the paper.
This is TTT News on Talk City 91.1 FM.
Making the news at this time. Calls for the resignation of the Children's Authority Board have sparked deeper concerns about how the agency is being run and whether its internal oversight systems are working as they should. Chief Executive Officer of the Heroes Foundation, Lawrence Arjun, says the authority remains one of the country's most critical child protection institutions. But he argued it is operating under serious structural strain with too many responsibilities, limited resources, and what appears to be a breakdown in reporting between the board and the ministry.
The Children's Authority is definitely one of the most critical and important state entities that we have today. But as the report says, as many people have said over the years, it faces significant challenges, such as, it's carrying too much functions, it has resource, it has staffing constraints. So that being said, I really was surprised that the minister raised such a matter in the public, because it says that there is, or there has been, some sort of breakdown in the reporting and the engagement mechanisms within the authority, the board, and the ministry.
In other news, the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited has secured a new gas sales contract with ammonia producer Trinidad Nitrogen Company Limited, strengthening a long-standing partnership in the country's energy sector. Tringen, one of the longest operating ammonia producers on the Point Lisas industrial estate, is jointly owned by National Enterprises Limited and Yarra Caribbean 2002 Limited. The company operates 2 ammonia plants and its own power generation facility. Speaking at the signing, Acting President of NGC, Edmund Subrian, said the agreement reflects strong collaboration across the energy sector and supports the natural gas value chain. NGC Chairman Gerald Ramdeen added that the deal ensures continued gas supply for ammonia production, sustains economic activity at Point Lisas, and helps maximize returns from the country's natural resources. Tringen Chairman Emerson Chady and Vice President Operations Trevino Mowasi were also present. Government is making it easier for motorists to renew their driver's licenses early. The Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation says Cabinet has approved an amendment to the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Regulations, allowing license holders to renew up to 3 months before their license expires. Previously, renewals were only permitted 1 month prior to expiry. The ministry says the extended period will reduce last-minute rushes, improve customer convenience, and enhance service efficiency. The change comes through Legal Notice Number 48 of 2026 and takes effect from March 16, 2026. The ministry is thanking the public for its continued cooperation as efforts continue to improve service delivery across the transport sector. In some sport now, the Youth Hardball Community Cricket Program was in full swing at the Calderac Recreation Ground, where a host of young players gathered for an evening of skill building on Monday. Present at the session was Sport Ambassador and former West Indies cricketer Nicholas Pooran, who spent time with participants offering encouragement and motivation as they continue their journey. The program, run by the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, provides youngsters with hands-on coaching from experienced mentors, fun cricket activities, and valuable lessons while sharpening the skills among the next generation. And that's what's making the news this morning. But joining us right now is Vimala Bakaran, the host of Trinidad and Tobago Today. Good morning, Vimala.
Good morning, Carrie. How are you today?
I am good. What about you?
I'm doing good.
You sure?
Yeah, I just need a little bit more rest.
We all need a little bit more rest, right, at this time of the morning.
Yeah, it's a short week, so hopefully we'll get that this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, today's impact.
That was TTT News on Talk City 91.1 FM.
Talk City 91.1 FM. Talk.
Cabinet has approved the establishment of the regulatory framework for the registration and management of classic, antique, and vintage vehicles in Trinidad and Tobago.
Music. Culture.
We are now in a state where I can now proudly announce that our gas production will increase by a significant amount given all the various projects that are now expected to come online.
Engaging conversations, latest news, our music. This is Talk City 91.1 FM. Wake up to the issues that matter most on the Ground Report. Join Andy Williams and Lennox Smith every morning from 6 to 9 a.m. for real talk, real analysis, and real perspectives on the stories shaping our nation. News, current affairs, and voices from the ground, unfiltered and unapologetic. That's the Ground Report. Weekday mornings on Talk City 91.1, where the conversation begins.
This is Destra, and you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City. Keep it locked!
Six a.m. to 9 a.m. Join Andy Williams and Lennox Smith, the Ground Report team, as they rip apart the lies, half-truth, and misinformation that the mainstream media never discuss. The Ground Report. Hard-hitting, informative, undiluted, uncompromising, and unfiltered. Monday to Friday. Get the raw facts before making any life-changing decisions. Only on The Ground Report.
The Ground Report.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin.
The Ground Report. The Ground Report.
I would think that there's been very clear that all the employees of Petrotrin will exit the company. All.
The Ground Report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith.
Bang, bang, bang.
shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. None like you. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. Awesome in power. Our God. Our God. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. Awesome in power. Our God. Our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? Stand against. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. Awesome in power. Our God. Our God. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. Awesome in power. Our God. Our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? Stand
The Ground Report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Time check. It's 12 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. And you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City 91.1 FM. You're also viewing it and listening to the Ground Report on our several social media platforms, on Facebook and on YouTube. So don't forget it for when you leave your maxis, your taxis. To all my drivers, a pleasant good morning to you. To all the onliners that are locked on, a pleasant good morning to each and every one of you that are locked on to us on Real Media TT on Facebook, Real Media TT on YouTube, Corridor Transformation on YouTube, 648 Television, Irvin, Felix, you a pleasant good morning to you all. The Ground Report, yes, The Ground Report on YouTube, or at Talk City 91.1 FM on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. Good morning to all in sundry. I'm seeing here Before I go there, let me say a pleasant good morning. The director's time, a pleasant good morning to you.
Pleasant good morning, Andy. Pleasant good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Nice. Lennox Smith, let's make it so a pleasant good morning to you.
Yes, indeed. Of course, a pleasant good morning to you as well, of course, and my colleague in studio here. And don't forget, of course, in Trinidad, East, West, North, South, Central, and our friends in Tobago. Tobago, yeah, we need to get a increased presence. I shouldn't say you're not putting in a presence, but an increased presence. And, of course, our friends in the region and the diaspora across the globe, and whatever time of the day it is in your neck of the woods, so to speak. Pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is the Tuesday edition of the what?
Ground Report. Oh boy, I'm seeing you in the Guardian. U.S. packs up radar. Airport site cleared 4 months after military. Whereas after military asset was installed to assist TNT with narco and human trafficking surveillance. Is that a good or is that a bad, Lennox Smith?
Well, it depends on who you speak to, because, of course, the opposition is saying that somehow Wayne Sturge, the current Minister of Homeland Security, Honorable Wayne Sturge, should resign because he has misled the population on this particular matter. Well, of course, voicing the chorus of opposition, both in Tobago and in Trinidad, on the presence of that piece of equipment. But I would prefer to go with the government's position. And, of course, the most recent iteration as to why it must now make its exit is because, one, it is extremely expensive. I understand it's $3 million a day to be instituted or to be kept for whatever reason, inclusive of maintenance. And, of course, that is being considered, one, with the authorities in the United States for something that is much cheaper, that would be more permanent in Trinidad and Tobago. So what Gonzalez had to say, I think it is just a fluff and, of course, an opportunity as a typical political, parasitic, opportunistic, menace.
Parasite, yes.
But go ahead, yes.
Oh boy. Autopsy revealed that Ariana died of heart failure caused by an infection. So it was not bullying, it was not no blunt trauma or anything.
No sexual incident either. And of course, that is why we cautioned, even though we had an obligation to say what it was in the public domain. We did say that we prefer to wait until the autopsy and the medical reports come out. And now that it has been revealed, it means, therefore, we can rest assured that the initial observations or the initial accusations no longer subsist.
Wow. Oh boy. Children's Authority board members refuse to resign. What says thou on that, and what is the process?
I don't know what is the legal parameters surrounding that as to when such a member could resign or should resign.
What is the process?
I assume without seeing the regulations and or the law that it has to be consistent with probably somebody like the DPP or even the president, where it's either you go mad or you're so delinquent that it requires, of course, the removal. Because so when it comes to inefficiency, on the face of it, I thought it was one where it's a normal board appointment, as we know it to be, and therefore the government can easily replace. But it looks as though it is much more complex than that. During the course of the program, I'll take a look at the law, and see what's happening.
Yeah, because it must have a way. It must have a way to get rid of them, man. Must have a way to get rid of them.
Having regard to the revelations, and they have not denied it, I think they were looking more for a more private consultation with the minister because
Them
they were
public
in
servants.
disagreement as to the approach of the minister. She ought not, in other words, to come in public and say that, listen, there's a discrepancy of several $1 million and accuse, of course, the entity of mismanagement or delinquent in their responsibility in terms of prudent management of the resources that would have been given to them via the state coffers.
I was trying to get in contact with you back yesterday. Again, them public servants will watch everybody else's fault. They will play perfect for read between the lines. They will play perfect for everybody else. And in real, they're undermining you. In real, they don't like you. And the government frequency, really and truly, it's about all same. You can't expect to have the same players doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. But we go get them sometime because they're given problem partner. Remember I tell you that.
Well, that notion that you just described, is attributed to a madman or somebody who is reckless. That you're doing the same thing over and over, and of course it has palpably been described as wrong, and yet still you continue to do so. And there is another.
But what's about something? Every other fire people.
There's another cliche to add to that.
Yeah.
A person who is doing wrong and believe they're doing right is extremely dangerous. So I don't know which one of them we should ascribe to this situation. But go ahead.
But what if it is? Let me say the government now or the board have to fire people with NTTT that may be moles for the PNM, that they are undermining the government and it moving forward when it comes to communications. Is it a hard process like this churn authority thing, or it's easier than that? Just want to know.
Well, TTT has a board as well, and it is always on the behest of the government as far as the board is concerned.
Okay.
I am not certain what is happening with this board. Board is the operating word.
Okay. The only way to have a good coup is to make sure you move the rusty nails.
Bang, 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 bang.
Nice. What else I'm seeing here? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, let me
S gunned down last Friday, the Financial Intelligence Bureau, FIB, of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, TTPS, sought documents from at least 4 contractors for allegedly doing business with him. Guardian Media was told the contractors the TTPS visited early last week were Motilal Ramhit and Sons, Skylon Construction, General Earth Movers Limited and V&V Contracting Company Limited. However, the TTPS also has several other contractors to interview as part of their ongoing investigation into Gera. One contractor told Guardian Media that the police wanted bills and delivery dates, which his company complied with. Another said police also sought access to their records and even requested a copy of their bank accounts, for which he did not comply. Another contractor confirmed that they did buy material from Gera over the years, but were under the impression he had a license because his operation and reach was extensive. As part of their investigation, the TTPS has been interviewing contractors who allegedly purchased aggregate from Gera over the years, even though he has never been in possession of a mining license from the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries. In 2021, the former administrator, Tien had amended 2 laws, the State Lands Act and the Minerals Act, to not only make it a chargeable offense for anyone to purchase illegal aggregate but that they would be disqualified from future state work. Guerra was the manager of D. Guerra Limited and owned several companies under the D. Guerra group of companies. While his legitimate base was a real estate company doing housing developments, for decades, allegations of illegal quarrying dogged him and there were several investigations and legal matters filed against him. On October 11, 2025, Guerra and his son, Garvin, along with 16 others, were charged with unlawful processing of aggregate and granted $50,000 bail each by a jus. Tice of the peace. That police operation at Manuel Congo, Guanapo, resulted in the seizure of a multi-million-dollar processing plant, trucks and other heavy machinery. The police investigation stemmed from this incident. However, 1 month later, in November, Guerra was detained under a detention order in the previous state of emergency, for an alleged plot to assassinate Defense Minister Wayne Sturge. At the time, reports suggested that the threat was linked to illegal quarrying and political influence and was a real and present danger. Reports also suggested that the threat stemmed from Sturge's refusal to install individuals handpicked by politically connected figures into state and constituent level positions. On November 20, 2025, Guerra was arrested under the SO provisions by the Special Investigations Unit on allegations that he leads an organized crime group involved in arms trafficking, money laundering and illegal quarrying. The order said Guerra's group had access to high-powered firearms and intended to escalate attacks against rival gangs in public spaces. After being detained for 6 weeks, he was released on January 3. Last Friday, Guerra was shot several times while in his vehicle outside his business place at North Oropouche Road, Sangre Grande. He was later pronounced dead at the Sangre Grande Hospital. Police investigations into his death are ongoing.
Bang, 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 bang.
The Ground Report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith.
NST stayed despite his murder. Danny Guerra. Asher Javid Consultant Editor Investigations. A 4T stayed despite his murder. Danny Ompany sang NNY Guerra and his company DG Homes, over a search conducted by police officers in 2024, is expected to continue even after his murder last Friday. The future of the case was discussed when it came up for hearing before Justice Frank Sipasad yesterday. Attorney Dayadai Harapal, who represented Guerra and the company, said his family members had taken the decision to substitute one of them as the claimant in the case for it to continue. She said hours before Guerra was shot dead outside the company's Sangre Grande office last Friday, state attorneys requested another extension to file their defense to the lawsuit. Justice Sipasad agreed that the case could continue with the substitution and directed Harapal to file the necessary application for the change before the next hearing of the case on May 13. In the lawsuit, Guerra and the company claimed their rights were breached when officers assigned to the Special Investigations Unit, SIU, denied them access to their lawyers during the search. His lawyers eventually obtained an emergency injunction preventing the police from continuing their probe into his business for alleged human trafficking and for allegedly paying his workers less than the national minimum wage. In January last year, Justice Sipasad dismissed an application from the Office of the Attorney General to strike out the case and issue a summary judgment. In the application, the state, represented by Gregory Delzan, SC, denied the allegations. It also contended that Guerra and the company had not raised extraordinary circumstances to justify the judicial intervention in the criminal investigation. At the time, Sipasad noted that the state had failed to respond to the allegation that Guerra was separated from his attorney, Gerald Ramdeen, while being interrogated during the search. The defendant's failure, to date, to challenge the version of events which the claimants have outlined, renders their complaint premature and the court cannot, at this stage, conclude that the right to counsel was not infringed, Justice Sipasad said. Constitutional guarantees must be jealously guarded and this court holds the view that citizens should have unfettered access to the court to advance legitimate claims premised upon alleged constitutional violations, he added. He said if the criminal investigation process was manipulated by the cases claimed, the Police Commissioner and Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, would have intervened. Last October, Guerra and his son, Garvin, were charged with unlawful processing of aggregate without a license from the Ministry of Energy, following a probe into his quarry operations. The probe resulted in the arrest of 17 others and the seizure of equipment and vehicles. A month later, Guerra and his son were held on preventative detention orders under the then state of emergency. The order accused Guerra of posing an imminent threat to public safety, including being responsible for an alleged plot to assassinate a government minister. He was also accused of having access to high-powered firearms to commit attacks against rival gangs. Guerra and his son were detained for 6 weeks before they were released after their lawyers, led by a British King's Council, threatened legal action over the detention. Alleges underworld deals behind UNC election win Jesse Ramdeo. The United National Congress, UNC, secured victory in the April 2025 general election with financial backing from members of the criminal underworld in exchange for deals. Gonzalez made the claim while pushing back against accusations by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar that the PNM's headquarters was built using drug money, an allegation she made during her parliamentary address last Friday. Reacting to the statement, Gonzalez condemned Persad-Bissessar for using parliamentary privilege to make what he described as unsubstantiated claims against the PNM, calling the remarks scandalous. However, he also made allegations of his own, suggesting that during his tenure as National Security Minister, he received intelligence reports indicating that criminals had helped finance the UNC's election campaign. He pointed to claims that as much as $17 million was spent in the Sangre Grande constituency during the campaign. We got information, it's the same thing that happened in some of the marginal seats in Tunapuna and what have you, where there was strategic collaboration between the UNC and the criminal elements to win some of these seats. And that is the reason why this government cannot govern without a state of emergency, because many of them cannot walk their constituencies. Gonzalez also revealed that the PNM was told that if they had accepted similar arrangements, the outcome of the election might have been different. Calls for campaign finance reform resurface. Gonzalez comments have renewed debate over political financing, with some analysts arguing that the controversy highlights the need for stronger campaign finance reform, while others say legal action could also be taken now. These are all issues of misbehavior in public office and no political party, while they go and yap. They are not doing anything to bring people to account, said political scientist Dr. Vishnu Raghunath. Dr. Raghunath also lamented the unwillingness of successive administrations to pass crucial campaign finance reform legislation to level the playing field between smaller parties and more established ones, as well as minimize corruption during the post-election period. Similar sentiments were expressed by political scientist Dr. Indira Rampasad. When these parties are in power, the same parties making the allegations, they're very hesitant to pass these reform measures. So you never see this legislation coming to the parliament to deal with transparency in campaign financing. That is one of the things. What rules and regulations should guide the financing, how much they're allowed to take from whom, who should they take from, who should they not. These are the kind of reform measures that we're talking about, but particularly transparency, she said. STT retreat costs. Aruka, Lopanot MP Marv S of thousands of dollars spent on an executive retreat hosted by Telecommunications Services of Trinidad and Tobago, TSTT. Last week, the Sunday Guardian reported that TSTT was invoiced more than $436,000 on the retreat held in Tobago from January 16 to 18, based on documents obtained by its investigative desk. However, the state-owned telecommunications company said the figures cited for certain invoices were overstated by as much as 60%. Despite that response, Gonzalez said the minister must still justify the expenditure at a time when TSTT reported a loss of $82.2 million in its financial statement for the year ended March 25, 2025. He also noted that the government previously indicated plans to scale back spending amid broader financial challenges. I'm wondering, what did they, TSTT employees, learn on that boat outside on no man's land with half-naked women and men clad in flowers around their necks and what have you? They were having a grand old time on the financial resources of TSTT. And, therefore, the minister should not be allowed to escape that. He's vocal on all kinds of matters, very silent on this particular thing. Gonzalez said he has already filed a question in Parliament asking the minister to justify the expenditure. The all-inclusive retreat involved acting chief executive Kino Cox and 10 members of TSTT's executive team. Executive retreats are commonly used as team-building exercises, allowing senior management to meet outside the office environment to strengthen communication, address differing perspectives and build cohesion within leadership teams. Video clips from the retreat, which were also obtained, show executives, some casually dressed and others in beachwear, taking part in games, posing for group photographs and boarding a tour boat. The footage also shows participants wearing green and white garlands, lighting a bonfire and interacting under 2 tents on the secluded beach at No Man's Land in Bon Accord.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, you all get some of the headliners when it comes to the 1% papers. We go for a break and come back. When we come back, the lines will be open to you. What's your thoughts? What's your front burner? What's supposed to make news that not making news? Right here on the Ground Report program, Talk City 91.1 FM. And if Lennox would like to comment on any one of those things, when we come back, it's up to him there. We go and come back. When we come back, more right here on the Ground Report.
Your stories, your communities, your country. TTT News is everywhere, on the ground, across Trinidad and Tobago, and on every smart device. When it matters, we're there, reporting the news as it happens. Because your world can't wait. Your world moves fast, so do we. TTT News brings you the people, events, and issues that matter most. Stay informed, stay ahead. TTT News, every night at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Talk City 91.1. Thought-provoking conversations, bold perspectives, voices you trust. Talk City 91.1. Bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever before.
Yes, Talk City 91.1 FM.
A brand new era of talk radio is here. With voices you know, trust, and respect. Get ready for an all-new lineup of the very best in talk. Andy Williams, Lennox Smith, Stephen Reese, Mr. X, Derek Charbodi, Roland Stewart, Sharon Farfan, Sudath Prasad, Heavy Duty, Alex Asing, Karen Francisco, Cherry Lean Lewis, Short Pants, and more of the voices shaping the national conversation. From hard-hitting current affairs to real community issues, culture, politics, social development, and the stories that matter most to you. This is where Trinidad and Tobago comes to talk.
So I'll go right here on Talk City 91.1, where we're going to give you something new, something hot every day, Monday to Friday.
Listen on 91.1 FM and connect on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Talk City 91.1. Your city, your voice. Talk City 91.1. Bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever before. A brand new era of talk radio is here.
This is Destra, and right now you're listening to Talk City 91.1. Keep it locked.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are back, we are back, we are back. Time check, it's 37 minutes past the hour. 6 o'clock, and you're listening to the Ground Report. Yours truly, the Pitbull of radio. Lennox Smith, the big word man, Director Snipes. We are in studio. What's on your front burner? What you think supposed to make news that not making news? Before I go to those lines, Lennox Smith.
Well, yes, indeed. Of course, what I heard prior to the break is what I would describe as a mangled twister of accusations, recriminations, and of course, in the case of the opposition, clearly opportunistic, what I consider to be hypocrisy, opportunistic hypocrisy. So let me get to the first story. The first one, of course, is with respect to the death or the unfortunate death of Mr. Guerra. Well, there seemed to be a trifurcated strand that we need to treat with three directions, because they're talking about an investigation by the police, the seizure of equipment. I didn't hear about that part of it, but there's a seizure of equipment, and I believe that there would have been charges preferred by the police with respect to illegal quarrying, and the non-payment of the minimum wage. I understand that there's something to deal with the industrial relations operations of the entity that would have employed the persons owned by Mr. Guerra. And then you have the situation where there is legal action with respect to having no access to his lawyer, and he's saying that that is a constitutional breach, and that matter is now before High Court judicial consideration. And of course, the court has said that there is valid grounds for judicial review. Your favorite judge has confirmed that, as we have heard in that particular piece. We have those three things that with respect to GERA. Of course, moving on with respect to the role of Minister Sturge, I think we ventilated that earlier, but let me just say that the issue before us is one where Mr. Gonzalez is saying that and calling for Mr. Sturge's resignation, having regard to all of the matters above. But the fact is that it is pure political, what I consider to be grandstanding. He would have been in a government where clandestineness, secrecy, and the role of non-disclosure clause was a major feature of the PNM, and all of us know that who are honest, who would want to be honest in terms of our understanding of it. But the fact is that if you claim national security as a consequence of a national security issue, and you're saying I cannot talk to you on that now, then of course one has to understand that. But it appears Gonzalez, because he's now in the opposition, he's saying something different. But more significantly, I think, is when he's talked about the possibility that the present administration used the criminal elements to get into office. I think that is a low blow that none of us would want to accept. The first thing, when I heard that, I would want to superimpose his assertion on the Tobago situation. Is he saying that the PNM got licked, at least three times in recent times? And is it that the Farley-led administration were funded or engaged in criminal activities? That is why the PNM lost. So it's a sore loser kind of scenario that he has postulated that really and truly has no credence in terms of the reality. I will leave that there until we get some additional information. All right, so those are the areas that I would want to focus on based on the stories that came out. I think there was a final one that has slipped me.
The story where that is TSTT. He want Gonzalo wants answers.
Yes,
he want answers.
Yes. With respect, of course, to that.
From Paradat, he want Paradat to break his silence.
I want to answer that by asking a question. When the PNM on several occasions in government had retreats, whether in Tobago or in Toco, as the case may be, and the cost would have been, of course, on the treasury of the country. What was that for? If he is saying that the TSTT exercise ought not to have taken place and that he somehow believed that there's something untoward about it, then I would want to ask why it is that the entire cabinet of the Rowley administration in particular went to Tobago at state expense, obviously, and in Trinidad at state expense to retreat and to sort of strategize the way forward, because that is what these exercises are all about. So there is nothing strange, there is nothing what I consider to be untoward about exercises like these. In fact, TSTT has said that the cost that is being bandied about is not that, and I am waiting to see what the actual cost is before, of course, I add any additional commentary on this matter.
Right, and what about the people that are online and would be on those two that are in their maxis, in the taxis, in their PH vehicles, some of them at home, that are saying at this point in time, with your explanations or editorial based on the 4 issues that you just expatiate, that could use that word, over, that you are dandying with a lot of big words. I
cannot be held culpable for persons who may be deficient in terms of their vocabulary expanse. I cannot be held responsible for that. They ought to just as me, I went to primary school, secondary school, university level, etc. So you would have to, of course, I'll have to forgive them for taking that approach. But I want to tell them that online there are dictionaries, etc., that you can, of course, take note of. And the modern technology is such that what I've just said, it will be, of course, recorded on social media, etc., and you can make reference. So there is no excuse as to that argument that they may or may not understand the words used, because the technology is such that they can just simply Google or make reference.
Okay then, we papa. All right, because I was going to tell you if you could break it down like how I will break it down and thing, because I'm not feeling too good. I really can't know to break down nothing, but you done let them know go to the dictionary. I can't break down that night. I didn't really understand it much. So let's go for that needed break and come back. When we come back, the lines are open for you. Again, just hit that dictionary if you didn't understand, but Lennox Smith break down all 4 issues. That's all the man is telling you all. Pitbull just not feeling too good this morning. Go ahead, Snipes!
But Johnny, how come your house is twice the size of mine, but my bill is twice the cost of yours? Johnny, what going on, boy? How your bill so low? How your bill so low? I conserving energy, I switch your LED, at the stun of the AC, and I saving real money. It's our responsibility for a brighter TNT. Cut the waste and you would see. Why everybody asking me? They asking how you been so low? How you been so low? TN Tech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Your news anytime, anywhere. Join us nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
The Trinidad and Tobago online arrival and departure card platform will go live on March 17, 2026. This secure platform can be accessed at travel.gov.tt. It is free, convenient, and required information can be completed within a few minutes. Passengers must create an account using a valid email address to access the portal, which will be available 72 hours prior to travel. The online arrival and departure card is a mandatory declaration for all international passengers and replaces the former process of filling a paper form. To complete the online arrival and departure card, each traveler must have flight information, a valid passport, and must upload a picture of the passport biodata page. Receipts for immigration and customs containing a QR code will be generated upon submission. Download and save the receipts, which will also be sent via email. Edits can be made to the declaration prior to the day of travel. However, if any changes are required on the day of travel, passengers must complete a new online arrival and departure card. The QR code may be required before boarding and must be presented to officials upon arrival and departure. A transformative travel experience awaits. This was a production of the Information Division, Office of the Prime Minister.
This is Destra, and you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City. Keep it locked!
If you believe that you're 30...
Bang, 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 bang.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are back, we are back, we are back. Time check. It's approximately 10 minutes to the hour, to 7 o'clock. And you're listening to the Ground Report with yours truly, the Pitbull of radio, Lennox Smith. You can't forget Director Snipes. Oh boy, so the lines are open for you, Trinidad and Tobago. But before I do that, let me openly say condolences to the Guerra family in the loss of their family member. May the police do a thorough job, an investigation into the death of Danny Guerra, as well as the Saturday after it had a soldier that was murdered in the Chaguanas area. For a matter of fact, any murder should be thoroughly investigated. That would not bring relief to the Guerra family, but all condolences goes out from the Ground Report program.
Yeah, I think you're quite right. Condolences are appropriate, and I want to say that while it may not, of course, be totally satisfactory, at least it will bring closure once the perpetrators have been identified via, of course, a credible investigative and information and evidence, so that it could be tested in a court of law, because ultimately that is where the question of guilt or innocence will be determined. So
you see the police breakthrough on this.
We too here say to the law enforcement agencies, not only must it be expeditious or be expedited, but there is a need for closure as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what that will do is raise public confidence. Bring closer to the murder of the soldier. So that now will send a good message. Bring closure to Danny Guerra and whoever it is murder he too. Bring closure to all these unfortunate murders that going on and people not getting catch. You all need to catch people in order to deter people from feeling so emboldened that today or tomorrow their next eyes will be on the politicians. And that will be bad. Don't wait. Mash up those groups before they start to attack big businessmen and politicians. Well, they done big businessmen already. Before they start to go after the politicians. So it will be good for the encouragement of the police service to get down to the nitty-gritty of these murders, unsolved murders, and bring the perpetrators and them to justice.
But do you think that the statements of Gonzalez, I mean, trying to be a self-righteous indignation scenario, meaning that he points in the opposite direction when in fact three fingers are pointing back at him and his party, when we look at the whole question, because whilst that piece of information was being disclosed, I remember, of course, the Sadiq Bash and that rocket in the tank. I remember, of course, an incident in the elections in Tonopuna where certain rogue elements were preventing people coming from, I think, Caroni and Central, trying to inhibit them from casting their franchise, their votes, and so on. And I mean, and we would have attributed that to the incumbent or the PNM attempting either to get into or to remain in government. And whether or not his claim, because it seemed to me there is a disconnect, and it's almost far-fetched to make a nexus between associating the present administration with criminal elements that would have caused them to win so handsomely. And of course, he used very specific words, which I took note of because they were more generic. He wasn't very specific. He was saying that some of the East-West Corridor seats, for example, but he mentioned one, but he didn't mention the others because he simply couldn't. The fact of the matter is that from where we stand on the ground report, we knew they would have gotten licks, and that they got licks properly and fairly, utilizing all the mechanisms that would have been available, even though there was a threat of not bringing international observers. But again, the PNM again has been accused of, and in fact, we want to say have not brought in one election, the 2020 elections, said that they will not bring international observers, did not bring international observers, and that left, of course, a very poor taste in terms of the validity of the PNM in winning that particular election, which incidentally, they were reduced by a further one because they went into that elections with 23 seats and came out of it with 22.
Nice. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Good day, Andy. The incompetent PNM party wanted the radar in Tobago removed, so it's gone now. Do you know those idiots held a meeting last night asking why the radar was taken down? Well, I will inform the PNM that the radar was taken down because it has completed and finished its strategic objective. So you fools can try to score cheap political points off the radar removal. It just shows how stupid you are as a political party. And none of the right-thinking citizens should study you all. Your motto should be backwards ever, forward never, under the PNM, because that's what they give you. Anyway, Andy, have yourself a great day, my friend, and let's all try and be safe out there today, people.
Bang, 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 bang.
So Donald Trump is saying that the only time nobody radar move, move the radar, go ahead, Trinidad go get up. Now it's gone. Now it's big meeting in White Gun.
No, I mean, it is ludicrous. It is laughable. I mean, it's total caricature. I mean, it's comic relief that we are getting from these people because it is clear. You remember all of the hullabaloo and the anxiety created when that vessel came port in berth in Port of Spain. That war vessel. War coming, and they created so much panic that people started to actually believe them and buy up water, etc., because World War III going to start just now. That is a level of phantasmagorical, what I consider to be illusionary thinking, simply because they want to give the impression that they are relevant and that what they say has validity at the time. And when the projection did not materialize, when the prophecy did not materialize, they then go on to another one, and so they are going, finding nebulous and insignificant things to hoodwink the population, and when it doesn't work, ultimately, as we have seen by our experiences, they then go on to the next one. And so what is happening now is another phase. They will oppose the deployment of that radar. Now that you are getting what you asked for, that is to say, it is leaving, it has been dismantled, you're still asking questions as to why it's going now. I mean, come on.
Wow. It's 3 minutes still, so let me just thing here real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, papa. Let's continue there. Oh, Bossman, I want to play you after the news.
And Andy, tell Lennox to give me a call now. I have something for him. I want to know if he wants it. But you can give me a call. Andy get the clipping from Wayne Sturge and in Parliament on Friday, and they were here where he telling them that so is coming back. And they'll come back in a different form, and he go want to see if they go pass it or not.
Oh boy. Andy, a good morning to you. you can please contact Ian Allen after your show when you get chance, because Ian Allen made a breakthrough of the Soldier murder, and he's making a breakthrough on Danny's murder too. So check your partner, Ian Allen, after your program. Now me don't have to.
Unfortunately, that breakthrough will be superfluous and irrelevant. It is for the police to make that announcement. And therefore, we know, well, it will get where it ought to as far as the stages for a criminal investigation and ultimate prosecution.
Wow. Everybody just need to do the work. I will just read the news. Go ahead, Ed Snipes. Let's get that TTT news going.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. Alarming levels of abuse, family instability, and exposure to crime in early childhood are fueling Trinidad and Tobago's growing youth violence problem, according to criminologist Dr. Randy Sipasad. Speaking on Trinidad and Tobago today, Dr. Sipasad said research shows that many young offenders were shaped long before they entered the criminal justice system, growing up with multiple adverse childhood experiences that sharply increase the risk of later violence. He pointed to recent local and international research revealing that significant numbers of children are raised in homes affected by incarceration, emotional and physical abuse, substance misuse, and family breakdown.
And for instance, we found for the average youth, and these figures are still very high, mind you, 25% had substance use in the home when they were a child versus 43% in St. Jude's and YTRC who had parents who abused substances. In the country as a whole, 21% had a parent with mental illness compared to 26% of youths in St. Jude's and YTRC. In the country as a whole, 26% had, this is very high, a household member who was incarcerated versus 63% of the youths who were in St. Jude's and YTRC.
Switching gears now, visitors planning to travel to Tobago for the upcoming Easter holiday can expect additional flights and ferry services as measures are being put in place to ease the annual surge in travel demand. This was revealed by Tobago House of Assembly Secretary of Youth Empowerment and Sport, Keegan Denoon, who noted that the decision comes following discussions with the central government. He acknowledged that Easter remains Tobago's most oversubscribed travel season, but said efforts are ongoing to improve access to the island through increased flight availability, including the possible use of jet aircraft to service the air bridge.
So you would be aware that Easter in Tobago is always oversubscribed, and thankfully, with the relationship that we have with central government, they have given their commitment to ensuring that additional flights would be made available. We are currently in the process of seeing how best we can have a jet service the air bridge during that period, and so you can look forward to having additional flights being made available to the public of Tobago during that period.
Mr. Dinu noted that while there is still room,
He further explained that discussions have also been held with the Port Authority to ensure ferry services are ready in time.
All the vessels ready for Easter. I know boats are currently undergoing repairs. Once those repairs are completed in time, they would be ready for Easter. If not, the Galleon's passage would also be available to take off some of the strain. But we are ensuring that everybody who wants to be here in Tobago would be able to come, whether by air or by sea. As an administration, we are mindful of the challenges that people face coming to the island. So we are trying our best to ensure that you have the smoothest possible experience in getting to the island.
He also praised the central government for its willingness to collaborate, particularly given the economic importance of Easter events to communities such as Buku and Mount Pleasant. In other news, Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Geraldine John, met with the British High Commissioner to TNT, John Dean, to discuss potential areas of collaboration aimed at advancing the country's infrastructure development objectives. The meeting also included Director of Infrastructure Exports UK, Dean Purvis, and Country Director at the United Kingdom's Department for Business and Trade, Giselle Roberts. Discussions focus on exploring opportunities for strategic partnerships that could support Trinidad and Tobago's long-term development agenda. Minister John welcomed the engagement, highlighting the value of international cooperation in strengthening national development efforts. She emphasized the importance of sustained dialogue to identify initiatives that would result in sustainable and impactful infrastructure solutions for the country. In some sport news now, interim head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago senior men's football team, Derek King, labeled TNT's 3-0 loss against Bolivia as naive performance by his players. In their away international friendly, TNT kept the score goalless until the 23rd minute before conceding 3 goals in their first match since the departure of former head coach Dwight York. TNT will now shift their focus to their March 27th meeting against Venezuela in the FIFA series.
I think first half, we was a bit naive in a sense that we didn't play football athlete. As I told you guys, when they got home, this is difficult. A team that prepared the players, their playoff games. The first 20 minutes, as I told them, we have to stay the game. We got to stay the game. And I think, we are now our soft going. I believe that this is the 22nd minute. Football, we want to think, and we guys did well for this.
And that's what's making the news at this time. I'm Carrie Roberts. We now get into hour number 2 of the Trinidad and Tobago Today Morning Show after this break.
That was TTT News on Talk City 91.1 FM.
Talk City 91.1 FM. Talk.
This is about creating opportunity through responsible management and citizen participation in national wealth. We are targeting US $3 billion in new investment within the next few years in energy, in construction, in tourism, and the digital economy.
Music.
It's reconstruction time in Trinidad, so put your shoulder to the wheel and lad, move on, don't stop till you reach the top. You put a hand and I put a hand and we will sing. For big and for small in no time at all, prosperity. There's no other way to do it. Show your patriotic spirit, unity somehow. If Trinidad ever needed you, it's now.
Culture.
The budget has goodies and some not so goodies, but that is because fairness requires that everyone plays their part.
Engaging conversations, latest news, our music. This is Talk City 91.1 FM.
The Pity Valley Diego Martin Cluster presents Panyard Crusade 2026 from March 23rd to March 27th from 6:15 p.m. each night with rosary, praise, and worship, featuring 424 Music Ministry, The Seminarians, Cluster Joint Choir, Valley Harps, Valley Angels, and much more. Live at the Valley Harps Panyard, Moncoco Road, Pity Valley, opposite St. Anthony's RC Church. Guest speakers: Father Isaac Umaru, Father Steve Ransom, Father Robert Cristo, Father Matthew Martinez, and Father Leslie Tankai. The Panyard Crusade 2026.
From hard-hitting current affairs to real community issues and the stories that matter most to you, this is where Trinidad and Tobago comes to talk.
This is Destra, and right now you're listening to Talk City 91.1. Keep it loud.
6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Join Andy Williams and Lennox Smith, the Ground Report team, as they rip apart the lies, half-truth, and misinformation that the mainstream media never discuss. The Ground Report. Hard-hitting, informative, undiluted, uncompromising, and unfiltered. Monday to Friday. Get the raw facts before making any life-changing decisions. Only on the Ground Report.
Bang, bang, bang.
The Ground Report. The Ground Report.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin.
The Ground Report. The Ground Report.
I would think that there's been very clear that all the employees of Petrotrin will exit the company. All.
The Ground Report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith.
Oh boy. We are back. Time check. It's 9 minutes past the above 7 o'clock. And you're listening to the Ground Report right here on Talk City 91.1 FM. You're also listening and viewing us on our several social media platforms. Real Media TT on Facebook, Real Media TT on YouTube, Corridor Transformation on YouTube, 648 Television on YouTube. The Ground Report, yes, The Ground Report on YouTube. Not forgetting at Talk City 91.1 FM on YouTube and on Facebook and on TikTok. So as promised, the lines are open to you. Organize and play your voice notes. It's time for you to have your say. Oh boy. On the number one program, The Ground Report. What's supposed to make news that not making news? What's your front burner this morning, Trinidad and Tobago? Right, so let me continue here.
Morning, everybody. Morning. The United States of America has just announced that it is no longer interested in pursuing its anti-drug and anti-cartel mission, whereby they will be executing people who will be transporting drugs. They said that mission has been abandoned, and they have told Trinidad and Tobago that they are on their own with respect to handling narco traffickers trying to come into the country. So I want to say, I warned the government of Trinidad and Tobago repeatedly on numerous occasions. I said have nothing to do with USA and that man called Trump. Because Trump is a very unstable, mercurial, fickle. One minute he says something, the next day is a complete different story. He's a man that is full of lies. He's very dishonest. Right now, Facebook and other social media platforms are cluttered with lies and fake news from Donald Trump. So it seems to suggest that Trump has outsmarted Madame Bissessa. Because I thought all this talk about killing them violently and the United States helping us and we're going to get oil. They have withdrawn their troops from Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Caribbean. So there is no more protection from drug traffickers at sea. So we are highly vulnerable and we are back in the same position. All this talk about Shield of Americas and Shield of Americas, that was just a front to bamboozle people. And I want to say this, right? I told Madame Bissessa and the government, you all are loyalists, and the United States of America does not do anything for anybody for free, right? If you wanted to be aligned with somebody, better you had stayed on the side of Russia, China, and Iran, because at least Russia would have still protected us from the United States if we were against them. So how is the government looking? They're looking very silly now, right? Because they're back in the same position as we were before. So I don't know what is happening now. So we have no troops to protect us, and anybody could just run straight into the country with a shipment of drugs. The state just used us, right? They wanted us because they were interested in a mission that is to take out Maduro. And it is alleged that the strikes from Venezuela came from Trinidad and Tobago, and we had a dirty hand to play in Maduro's removal. And I want to tell the government furthermore, this talk about us getting oil from Venezuela. Let me tell you something. All the oil that left Venezuela and the tankers that Trump would have hijacked exiting Venezuela, the United States Treasury has not gotten a single cent from that shipment. America did not get any money from that. The money went straight into Trump's personal bank account in Qatar, according to CNN News. And CNN is the most biased news station. They pro-American, that is what they said. The money went to Trump's personal bank account in Qatar. Trump moved up by a $100 billion since his ascension to office. So I want to tell the Prime Minister, don't expect to get any money from Trump. He has already outsmarted us with respect to support, giving us protection from criminals at sea. So we have no oil again to get. What Trump is selling us is just a pipe dream.
Lennox, some of those things sounds very false. Clearly on what...
I mean, I was thinking that this person might have just arrived from the sun. But the sun, of course, is a ball of gas, so it's not a solid planet. But, I prefer such an individual that is so alien to the facts. The fact is that why would Trump, first and foremost, call upon as a follow-up to what transpired prior and the in custody of the former president of Venezuela, talking about Maduro, call all these leaders to
and sign to
the United States in order to sign up on the Shield of the Americas. And is he also saying that let me put it this way, I would not be surprised if he's saying that the other 11 or 10 heads of government, they were fake. They were just mannequins that went there. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. I would not be surprised. That is how far-fetched this nonsensical ball of what I consider to be cacophonous babblings and ambulatory verbalization that clearly makes no sense whatsoever. I want to say, however, that on the question of security, Wayne Sturge, the minister is responsible for part of the security apparatus in this country, was in the United States before the Prime Minister went, and he has successfully negotiated the provision by the United States of two old warships, in order to treat with our border issues, one, and two, the intention of the Shield of the Americas was to hand responsibility, and therefore decrying or denying or making or rubbishing the idea that the integrity and the sovereignty of these countries are not intact, because remember that was one of the issues, the question of sovereignty and so on. So what is happening is that the countries are now responsible for their own border infringement and or security issues, and therefore that to me suggests that the Americans recognize the sacredness of the integrity and the independence of these respective countries, which I expect other Western Hemispheric countries to come on board in the fullness of time.
Okay. Oh boy.
Good morning, Andy Williams. Good morning, Gong reporter Sean Tobago, Lennox Smith, Director Snipes, Mikey K. Good morning, wherever you may be. I say good morning to Trinidad and Tobago people, the people that are foreign that locked out on the World Wide Web. Good morning to each and every one of you. Andy, but I find nothing happening down in the West here, you know. But I still have a little patience there, but come on. I find down here real quiet. Nothing nice.
Go ahead, caller. I'll take off that after. Go ahead, caller.
Pleasant morning, Andy. Pleasant good morning. Lennox, pleasant good morning to you, my brother. Andy, now why the man don't try to really talk about a man's contribution and thing, eh? But this gentleman you just give all that play this boss man. I just want to know where he getting the information from. Because you just have advertisement there where the Honorable Prime Minister will be talking about $3 billion in investment just in a couple of years. Just now will be taking place throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And if you say 3 billion US and you do the maths in that, you're talking about 30 billion TT. Nobody are talking about that. All of a sudden they're talking about drugs and this and that. And the former Prime Minister, stepdaughter, what she get hold with, boy, sweetie? Nobody actually resignation, right? He leave Trinidad and go in Venezuela constant every minute. What kind of investment under he watch, under the former watch, when they was communicating with Maduro, what kind of investment they bring to Trinidad? When Delcy Rodriguez come here under COVID and pass the red box for the former, what just was in the red box? Anything to benefit Trinidad and Tobago? All of a sudden, Balize House stop billing. You understand? They say was what did it call it? Raffle. Where they were raffling some car. You know what is really going on with me in Trinidad and Tobago, boy? And what I realize in Trinidad too, I realize they used to say racism is the other people, but I realize my brand of people is some of the most racist people in Trinidad and Tobago, boy. Only I'm giving people a chance, boy. All you know what's going on in the country where money is concerned. All you know, the Calibut and them thief out the money, boy. All you know that, boy. You know, and yet still, all you trying to bully the woman, bully the team for them to find thing, to Lego thing. When time is for thing to share, thing go share. All you not understanding the facts of this thing, boy. The woman going in government, we have voted she again. Rowley and them was there for years, 9 years, going on 10 years. And what they do for poor people, boy? What they do for Lavanti and the Beecham? What Marvin Gonzalez and them do for you, boy? They're talking, they're only trying to influence now and mobilize the poor class of people and making all you feel like this present administration don't care about all you and not doing nothing for you. What so much thing the woman do for people since she come in office already? Why all you so ungrateful, boy? Why we so ungrateful, boy? All it was when she was in power from 2010 to 2015, all you were a black prime minister. All you get a black prime minister. More contribution the black prime minister make on all your behalf, boy. The country get worse than how it is. Pandey treat we good, the woman treat we good in she first term. And if you give she a chance, she will do the best thing for Trinidad and Tobago. All it too unfair, boy. Andy, I want to say something to you, sir. You and Lennox this morning too. Andy, they pass a law, right? That if something happens to a vehicle, they're giving you 3 days or 7 days, Andy. And you don't nobody are talking on behalf of carnage, boy. And they mash up a government entity chapter, mash up my glass on the car, I fix it back on up to now they can't compensate me yet. I only spend it, I buying gas to run down in CDA, I buying gas to run by the police station, I buy gas to run up in the bamboo to fix my glass. What is going on, brothers? Only talk to me, please, now. I listen. This is the third time I'm talking about this.
Lennox, how we are to get your money there?
We'd have to send something formally to the entity involved, and we will discuss strategy to at least have them focus on the resolution of this matter. I don't want to talk this strategy on air. So, Mr. Kainaj, you can contact me. We have a call. We have a call on this side. A pleasant good morning. Welcome to the Ground Report. Yes, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you going?
Well, as could be in the circumstance.
Boy, why PNM just come out with their false propaganda, boy? Last night I was watching PNM 3, 7 o'clock news. and Marvin Marvelous Marva saying that how he had information when he was National Security Minister that the criminals financed the UNC party to win the election. Them spend over $70-something million in Grandi and Tonapuna and some of the marginal seats. What happened to Marvin Marvelous Marva? Because Kamala bust the mark against Balize House, he come out with a statement last night. I see him, I listen him, because I just watch all them talk program. I just listen all talk programs to hear the PNM propaganda right through. Marvin, not easy. Have a blessed day.
Same to you, of course. We share that view as well. Because, I mean, it was all about being as phantasmagorical as you could be. A story that is so far-fetched, it's very difficult to even, focus. Because, I mean, it simply does not make sense. We did allude to it earlier in the program.
Andy, good morning. That was not called the name of Russia, China, and Iran, all communist countries. If this man like the PNM, they like communists. This man like to be ruled. He like to be ruled with a whip. That's why we need to whip them from behind. All of them, the PNM, they get whipped from behind. They are slaves to Raoul. They are slaves to communists. They like to be ruled. They don't like to rule themselves or do things for themselves. They like to be ruled with a big whip. So you see where the bossman is. He called the name, instead of calling the name of other countries, that's not very prosperous. We call Russia, China, and Iran, who people enslave their people. The bossman, they like to be a slave to the China. Boy, if that man cannot prove that message from Trinidad, that man needs to be locked up. You need to put that man in jail. He said that message from Trinidad. If he cannot prove that, he needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail, my friend. And stop playing that man lies on radio.
Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Lennox, the pitbull of radio. We are the government. The government work for the people. And they keep up the good work. And they choose. Yesterday, I see the PNM have a big meeting in Telapuna, boy. They're touching the ground, boy. Local election coming. They say CPAP and Rapid better than this program of the lunch. People who work for the carnival and get paid. The project finished Friday, going there, and nobody get paid up to now. And was calling on the Honorable Minister Kumuskili man, and the government station. She sent a text. She ain't taking the call. Oh, she go do that. She can't do that. People need answers. I say good morning to Mr. X and Stephen Reed. Real soldiers down on the ground, they understand the poor and the needy. They're not total no side. They're just looking out for the underprivileged and the poor. We need answers, and the people ain't getting money. And they looking too good, boy. With them ministers and them, try to make my prime minister look bad. The high horses, they come along on the ground and deal with the people. And they talk to them now. Later you go for your local election. Why you right? You didn't want in Grandi again? Go there, go Martin. Go down there and fight, go down there and yeah. But
Bang, 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 bang. The Ground Report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I find that those who commented on Bossman, the Bossmaco commentary this morning puts him the busman that is in a different category altogether. I think he's suffering from an incurable mental malady because, I mean, to make reference that one should align their fortunes or the future of a country with that of Russia and the likes of China, etc. I think, I mean, it is simply someone who clearly have lost touch with reality, and therefore should seek some kind of remedy to address that issue. Yeah.
I agree to you 100%, and the people were saying, Randy, why you playing the man voice note or if it go, he not cursing, not thinging, anything. And it have a lot of people thinks like him. It have a lot of people thinking like him. And it's good to hear how people thinking. And it's also good to see if people actually believe in his wash that he's spraying, or if people will disagree and bring the relevant facts before us. It is what it is.
Or recommend some mental expert to see if they could do something with something that may be irretrievable. But let's see.
And people playing and the propaganda news station always playing Marvin Gonzalez. Marvin Gonzalez say this, Marvin Gonzalez say that. Why don't call them, text them, and tell them, oh gosh, stop giving me Marvin Gonzalez now. Stop playing the clips. Stop writing what he's saying now. SCNC3, TV6, don't do it. Call them and tell them that now. Only after hear
and of course, half a dozen or 1/6 or the other, they seem to be talking out of the same pot, so to speak. Birds of feather flock together, and therefore that mental malady seems to be extremely infectious because it has reached the busman now.
But if you reach, let me play one more voice note, and then we will go for the break and come back. When we come back more, let me play one more voice note, then we'll go for that break.
Andy, good morning to you, Lennox, Mikey, Nigel, and to everybody out there. Carnage, well said. Well said. They wanted to wave a magic wand. But you see, what is unfair is what they didn't do. And we know the agenda. We know where that agenda is coming from. Some wrong platform and some kind of somewhere out in the galaxy platform. You understand? We know where it's coming from Busman. Busman is not a free thinker. Busman is a parrot. He's a parrot. He getting his information from PNM3, two platforms, and PNM websites. That's where he's getting his information coming from. I hope he's being paid well, and he don't end up like you remember Blues. And you remember Blues when Blues gets sick, who he had to turn to the ground report for help. And all of the PNMites who they throw at the wayside. Anyway, yes, they wanted to wave a magic wand and get things done. Andy, I don't know what it is going on in this country, right? But I know the government change and the mindset of the workers, the people who we depend on, has not changed, right? They still feel PNM running this country and they can do people what they want. Andy, today's 4 days that we have not had water. Actually, yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yesterday. This morning, it came about a little after 6. Very low, you can't fill the machine or anything, right? Andy and I am hearing people calling in and talking about the water situation. Nobody's telling us anything what it is going on. You call the call center, nobody can't tell if there's repairs going on, what it is going on, that we're not getting water. We are on a water schedule, Santa Cruz area, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 6 to 6. Andy, it comes at 6 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, it's gone. What can you do with it? By the time you catch yourself, you know the water there. Right? something is going on. But if they feel that they're going to bring down this government with their nastiness, they lie. And I'm referring to WASA, and I'm referring to all the other social welfare people, everybody who is doing this nonsense to the citizens of this country. And I agree with the caller, because Mrs. Pasabi says to talk about what kind of money Bill Bally's here. Suddenly Marvin know that gangs finance the PNM. Oh, come on, Marvin. Come on. If you had that information, right, because you were the minister, you said you were the minister of national security, then why didn't you say something on the platform? Why didn't you say it now dawned on you? Come on. We know that's the PNM propaganda in every nook and cranny. I want to ask you, who it is finance the PNM? Who financed them other than the 1%? Who was Berkey? Who were the community leaders that Manning were referring to? That always are in the PNM hip pocket, the fob. Or they feel all they fooling somebody, or they fooling nobody. Because this is not email gate all over again, you know. Right? And Andy, before I leave, okay, so Kamala talk about Mrs. Prasad, talk about Bally's house. You know, suddenly they come back up with Pink House. And Munilal House, let them go and warn them. We hear the Attorney General and warn them about threatening the Prime Minister. So let go. Because of a madman, the lady had to take all her receipts into Parliament and put it on the Hansard. That's why after he couldn't even raise that same man he raised them pictures with. You see what man rowdy do him?
Nice. We go for that break and come back. When we come back, more right here on the Ground Report. We'll be back.
Only to tell you, Andy, that after the break, quickly, we have a guest here in studio from the Ministry of Homeland Security who would be talking to us, as we did attempt yesterday to look at the young people, and we are going to be talking about that in terms of the prophylactic aspect of preventing, in other words, young people from entering a life of crime and criminality. So look forward to that, people. Keep your dial right where it is on this edition of the Ground Report.
Talk City 91.1. Thought-provoking conversations, bold perspectives, voices you trust. Talk City 91.1. Bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever before.
Yes, Talk City 91.1 FM.
A brand new era of talk radio is here. With voices you know, trust, and respect. Get ready for an all-new lineup of the very best in talk. Andy Williams, Lennox Smith, Stephen Reese, Mr. X, Derek Charbodi, Roland Stewart, Sharon Farfan, Sudath Prasad, Heavy Duty, Alex Asing, Karen Francisco, Jerry Lean Lewis, Short Pants, and more of the voices shaping the national conversation. From hard-hitting current affairs to real community issues, culture, politics, social development, and the stories that matter most to you. This is where Trinidad and Tobago comes to talk.
It's all good right here on Talk City 91.1, where we're going to give you something new, something hot every day, Monday to Friday.
Listen on 91.1 FM and connect on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Talk City 91.1. Your city, your voice.
Your world moves fast, so do we. TTT News brings you the people, events, and issues that matter most. Stay informed, stay ahead. TTT News, every night at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Tune in to the Holy Trinity Cathedral program on Talk City 91.1 FM every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Mark your calendar. It's a great way to stay connected with the spiritual reflections, uplifting messages, and community updates right here with us on Talk City 91.1 FM.
This is Destra, and you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City. Keep it locked.
Bang, bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang.
The Ground Report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith.
Yes, indeed. Of course,
boy,
we are back. We are back. Time check is just about 20 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. Yes, and we have Mr. Zahir Ali, who is, of course, an attorney at law, a member of the TTPS, as well as of course, connected in a capacity of director for policy. He will, of course, explain, because everything here on the ground report is not necessarily pre-planned, but of course we as Boy Scouts and Girl Guides, we are always ready to make certain that we bring information that is not only valid and credible, but very useful for public consumption. Yesterday, of course, there was a symposium as well for young people. Yesterday, we were talking about young people, their involvement, and so on, particularly in what we consider to be vulnerable or crime hotspots, as designated by the police, by law enforcement. And we are just fortunate to have him with us at this point in time. So by way of introduction, of course, Andy, I know that you would want to make your input as well. So welcome to the studios of
Mr. Ali, a
Talk City 91.1.
pleasant good morning to you, Mr. Ali. Oh boy.
Repeat. He just put on his headphone.
Nice. I'm just saying a pleasant good morning to you, and it will be very interesting this morning to be in your company, to see what we can do for the people of Trinidad and Tobago when it comes to your capacity and your expertise in wanting a better Trinidad and Tobago. Go ahead, Lennox Smith.
Yes, indeed. Well, of course, prior to coming on air, and of course during the break, we did speak about his capacity and so on. So just introduce yourself formally, and as I say, welcome to the Talk City 91.1. We are very, very, very interested in young people in particular, and that seminar that was recently concluded, and what is the objective first and foremost, and what may have been the outcome as a consequence of whether you would have achieved your objective, or is it part of a continuous process? Go ahead.
Well, good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. And let me take this opportunity, Andy, Lennox, Nigel, it's indeed a great pleasure to be here with you all this morning. I pay attention to your program, and you are very inspiring. Just listen to Andy in the way that he introduced me, and signaling to Trinidad and Tobago, be prepared that something good is going to happen. So I want to thank you all very much for that warm welcome. Lennox, that's a very, very important question that you have asked, and let me just put some perspective into it.
Okay.
I was in a program a short while ago on TTT, just moments ago, and they asked me to step across. And
yes,
because I understand the importance of this particular matter and the importance of ensuring that the public gets involved, and by extension, most importantly, our legislators, I took the opportunity to come in and join this discussion to further promote the objectives. Now, when we look over the period, and I'm sure you have spoken about it many times, we are seeing that we have a great challenge with crime and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago. And, I said a short while ago, we cannot shoot ourselves out of this problem. We cannot charge ourselves out of this problem. And many have said it.
Yes.
What happened with this symposium is that we took a decision, and I want to recognize the Honorable Minister of Homeland Security, and by extension, three other very important ministries: the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Social Development, and the Ministry of Education.
And where was it held before we go forward?
Yeah, this was held at the Center of Health Economics at the University of the West Indies, at their auditorium. And it would have engaged very key stakeholders in Trinidad and Tobago. For example, the University of the West Indies Behavioral Science Department, Criminology, Psychology, and Sociology, and the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Psychologists, which also promotes the profession of psychologists and the importance of psychosocial interventions. So we also had the opportunity to interact with the TTPS, the Children's Authority, the international community, non-state actors. So it was a very condensed and impactful symposium.
All-encompassing.
Well, I love that word you use, Lennox, when you use the word all-encompassing. Yeah. And, I want to be very humble in terms of how I measure it. And I measure it based on the feedback. I just mentioned a short while ago. Could you imagine, Lennox? And I've seen it many times. You go into a symposium, which is a discussion on a very focused subject point.
Yes.
And after 8 or 9 hours of engagement, persons just cannot wait to leave the auditorium. Oh, I had a long day. I need to get home. What I saw in this symposium, and every stakeholder who is listening to me right now and members of the public, at the end of the symposium was still filled with interaction, with networking. So, just
That happened in Trinidad. You're sounding foreign to me. I expect that to a foreign audience, not a Trinidad and Tobago audience. So go ahead. Very interesting.
Well, Lennox, I'm happy that when I, bring these facts to you, that
Yes.
you can put perspective to it, because this is a norm in Trinidad and Tobago, respectfully, that, after probably 1 or 2 hours, persons may become bored and may become not interested.
That's right.
But what we saw in this discussion,
We just have a little pause for a technical issue that our friend, the technical man, is trying to make some adjustments. We try to be perfect here, and perfection, of course, some people say is an illusion, but we still strive for that. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So thank you very much for that, and my apologies to you and Trinidad and Tobago. So just to get back to the point, so that reference you make, Lennox, a short while ago, in terms of where our culture may seem to suggest that, we are not very interested or don't have the patience for a very long period. But on this particular topic, looking at vulnerable youths and looking at early identification, prevention, and treatment from a social intervention context, from a preventative context, we saw some interest generated by the symposium. Now, the key for me coming out of this symposium, Lennox, because the question that you asked, and it goes to the heart of what I'm going to say. For too long, we have looked internationally, regionally, looking for a solution. So something is happening in another part of the world, we believe, okay, it may be applicable in Trinidad and Tobago. And what we recognize is that for too long, in my respectful view, we have not studied our culture and our traditions properly. And this symposium, I must recognize all the stakeholders that came, the psychologists, the criminologists, the TTPS, the various ministries, in terms of bringing their perspective with the hope and expectation that we develop strategies and policies that are conducive and relevant to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So that's the first major point that I want to make coming out of this letter.
Magnificent. Go ahead.
The second issue that I want to identify is I saw a removal of barriers. So what you found is that a ministry comes, but they are very enclosed because perhaps there's some competition. Perhaps there's competing interests. What we saw is that the removal of all doors and windows, where this door of the symposium was accessible to every single stakeholder. So that's number 2 in terms of frank and openness, recognizing and accepting that we have a serious problem in Trinidad and Tobago. And thirdly, the opportunity for the experts to be able to educate every single individual in that room, and the opportunity for non-state actors, and I want to stress on that, Lennox, that for too many times the discussions sometimes are not looking at our non-state actors. So sometimes you move with a strategy, but it's maybe deeply impacted by public influence, public sector influence, and not having that private or that non-state actor influence. The Heroes Foundation and other NGOs was actively present and made a very strong call. I may say, I learned it in 91 because they were so kind this morning to invite me, that very soon my superiors have instructed me to give serious consideration to have another symposium that will be dedicated to the NGOs and the youths in Trinidad and Tobago to also come and bring their perspective.
Give them another round of applause there. I mean, I am now moved emotionally. It brings music to my ears to hear you say that. And I want to also say, by way of understanding, as we have been trying to do from time immemorial on this program, that the issue of crime and criminality, young people involvement and so on, is multifaceted, multidimensional, and therefore the response must also be concomitant with that concept or idea. In other words, are you of the view that it cannot be a law enforcement per se response?
I think that we have to look at it in a balanced position, Lennox. There will be the reason to have law enforcement.
Right.
Hard
so
law
per
enforcement.
se, I mean, only.
That's correct.
Yeah,
so you will naturally have the option of hard law enforcement, very serious crimes, murders, kidnappings, and what have you. But if you look at a culture that is growing where gangs, criminal gangs, it's so easy to have recruitment. One need to ask a question, well, okay, what is causing gangs to be so successful in recruiting persons to be able to continue criminal activities? And this is where, from a bio-psychosocial context, you have to understand what's happening in that individual's mind. What is causing him? Is it a situation where there's a broken home where there's no interest shown where the home is concerned? There's no love and compassion in the home? Is it that it's a medical situation that is causing someone to be vulnerable? Is it a situation where from a psychosocial context where perhaps the influence of gang culture, the ability to live a good life is influencing from a sociology context? So this is where we are looking to take it, where primary law enforcement, but at some stage we need to break that trend by using, not only promoting the right to life, safety and security of the person, but the importance of a right to health. Because I made a point, and I want to make it on this 91 point. Permit me, Lennox,
Yes,
to make
go,
this point.
go right ahead.
Under our laws, and this is what will be coming out of these symposiums, I'm going to tease the studio and tease Trinidad and Tobago, I'm saying it in a humorous way, that and ask the parliament to be on standby respectfully when we engage them, that in our law books, when a child has to enter primary school, that child has to provide a certificate of immunization. So you will be dealing with measles and yellow fever and these communicable diseases. That's to protect the child and the population that the child is going into. Now, if we recognize that there's an importance of looking at a biopsychosocial context, meaning that a child, we don't know what's the status of that child enters a population, but that child becomes, quote unquote, very aggressive. That child is encountering or running afoul of the law. That child's development is tardy by psychosocial issues. At what time would we wait for what? A very serious injury that maybe we lost that child? Or over the period of years that the injury or what is affecting that child is aggravated to the extent that there's no coming back? So I would like, and I've said it to the stakeholders and I said it in the symposium, little things can be done to place in law an obligation for a child entering primary school to at least be exposed to an initial screening, so that, and I want to say to the parents and the citizenry, this is not saying that your child is affected mentally. This is to ensure that your child continues to be a mentally focused child. A child, if in fact there's an issue, it can be quickly diagnosed and an intervention made to save your child and your family and cost to you and the state in moving forward.
Magnificent, magnificent. I want to read from a document.
Wow.
I'm not going to tell you the source, but I want to read from it. But I want to also focus on those who may have the potential to, or in fact, engage in criminal behavior. But at the same time, as you rightly mention, the role of the wider society or stakeholders, as you have identified earlier.
Yes.
And it says, I'm not going to give you, I hope I don't give away the document as yet. It is about the community participation. And it talks about access conditions within particular area, including the state of physical infrastructure, health, environment, land, tenure, housing, and settlement. And then it goes on. I'm going to just read 3. Identify the threats to sustainable development of the community within that particular area. And then, of course, the third one that I want to focus on is develop a sustainable development plan, which will include addressing issues relating to health, the environment, social improvement, infrastructural development, education, and economic development. Are these some of the inputs that are crucial based on not only what you have said in terms of the entry level for the first time in this social, should I say, grooming environment of the primary school, but are these what you are referring to in terms of making sure that we have all of these factors in place so as to impact on these young people and the society or the community in general, in order for us to reach the stage where we can really make contributions to ourselves and the community and the nation?
Lennox, you are making me very happy this morning, and I'll tell you why you're making me very happy. You have just placed what I've said into proper context and perspective. And I'll just build on it a little bit.
Go ahead.
When I sat with the key stakeholders, and we were thinking through this process about what steps can we take, what may be the most deliberate step that need to be taken immediately. when we identify vulnerable youths, or I should say children, let us begin by understanding that when we speak about a child, the society will be connected to a child one way or the other. And just by way of example, the child will start with a mother, a father, or maybe a legal guardian, a uncle, a aunt, a cousin. And then the child will go into a community, and then the child will go into a school, and then the child may be exposed to a health center. Understand how the machinery. That's correct. That's correct, Lennox. So it was strategic that when you target, and I'm using a very hard word, target a vulnerable youth or a child. If you are wise, you are actually targeting Trinidad and Tobago. Because what will happen is that if that child shows vulnerability, and you just said it, the long list of things and priorities that you have just raised, the matters that may be affecting that child can be, and we have said it many times, economic, social, health, environment, infrastructural, public utilities, you name it. And this is where this step or steps that we are taking is geared towards really shaping incremental efforts to be able to deal. And let's be honest, Lennox situation may not be similar to Zahiri's situation.
That's right.
So it also has to be on a circumstance basis. But what is important is that we need to look beyond that child, so that when we say, for example, a child is held with narcotics in a school, and this, I'm very passionate about this. I'm wearing my legal hat, my law enforcement hat, my director policy hat here now, and as a citizen of this country. When a child is found with narcotics in a school, we are seen respectfully without prejudice, and I'm not saying that a proper decision may not have been made in terms of to charge the child if the child has the age for criminal liability.
Yes.
But what I expect to see is that, well, where did the child get this narcotic from? Was it en route to school? Was it on a maxi taxi going to school? Was it from home? In other words, who would have exposed this child to a dangerous drug? If we are thinking like that, what you'll find is that the problem may not be the child. The problem may be that someone home, or that bus driver, or someone in the community need to be looked at.
That environment.
And that's the strategic and the depth we need to be able to be thinking, because when you arrest and charge, you have a statistic, one child charged from dangerous drug. But where that carries us, the instigator, the person who aided and abetted or procured or counseled that offense, we have not pursued them. As a matter of fact, we should be diligently interviewing the child to be able to have the child's statement with the DPP's intervention to charge the person who are exposing that child.
I like how you're talking, Mr.
Andy. I have to say, because there is a legal term that I'm sure that the learned attorney would know, entrapment, because the intention was not to do that. But I want to tell him where I was reading from. I'm reading from, of course, the law reform zone of special operations, special security, and the community development measures. And I was reading from the portion of it, part 5, yes, that talks about social transformation committee. So the zone of
special operations,
the ZOSO bill I was actually referring to, that failed in the parliament. So I did that in this way because you talked about legislatures when you started, and therefore there is a need for people to understand how significant their role is in terms of doing what is required to avoid the catastrophe that we are seeing, both real and potential. We have about a minute again.
So let me just quickly say that, and I'm happy that you took me to ZOSO.
Right.
And, I want to again recognize the Honorable Minister of Homeland and those who were responsible for bringing ZOSO. We have to be objective. You see that social transformation
aspect
committee that you spoke about
yes.
there? It was so significant. As a matter of fact, I made mention in the symposium that during this time is a spiritual time for many different religions.
Yes.
And we must remember that when Moses was running, or Musa was running with the people, when he was taking the people away, he met the sea, and there was no pathway. And he looked up to the heavens, and the heavens told him, strike the water. And a pathway was created to save the people. So even if ZOSO may have met a legal hurdle or challenge, we can still find way to develop a system that matches what ZOSO was intended to achieve.
Beautiful. Andy, you can make your
quick one. Oh boy. Well, I come from a background of the Police Youth Club, and I will hope that, let me say, at least members of the Police Youth Club, especially Officer Shabadi, which I show you are aware of, Officer Shabadi, be a part of this whole thing, because again the police would come. There's half people that come from those such broken homes and all those various things, and I will hope that Mr. Shabadi will be invited. But I must say, Mr. Ali, singing very good, especially the parts where you mentioned there that en route to school, where did that child get that drugs from?
Yes, indeed. Yes, of course. Just give us
on the block
parting words, because we just have about a minute or two.
Well, parting words again. I want to thank you all very much for the opportunity. Andy, your recommendation for the police youth club to be involved, let me give you the assurance that that has been done. I've already sent a message to the steering committee to have that included. So rest assured that that's in the process.
And we will get you back. We will get you back here,
well,
because
I want to thank
my
you,
area is East Port of Spain, etc., Laventille, so you should, well, of course,
we would definitely like to have you back to get...
It was my pleasure. And thanks to Trinidad and Tobago as well. Be prepared, Trinidad and Tobago. You have a major role to play, the citizenry of this country.
Yes, beautiful. We go for the news, people, and when we come back more on this edition of the Ground Report.
Bang, 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 bang.
Under the emergency power regulations. In a mid-release on early Tuesday morning, it said the operation, dubbed Operation Purple Rain, took place on Saturday, March 7th. Acting on intelligence received through Interpol, Officer of the Counter-Trafficking Unit conducted several weeks of surveillance at a premises located on Fraser Street in Rio Claro, which culminated in a search warrant. During the exercise, a 42-year-old TNT national and businessman was arrested, while a total of 11 individuals were discovered at the location. After initial screening and investigation by CTU officers, they confirmed that 4 individuals were victims of human trafficking, all female Venezuelan nationals ranging from 15 to 30 years of age. The ministry said that initial information suggests that some of the victims had been confined and exploited at the location for more than 2 years. We'll have more on this in a subsequent newscast. Trinidad and Tobago cannot shoot its way out of the situation where crime and criminality is concerned. This according to Director of the Policy and Community Support Office in the Ministry of Homeland Security, noting that Trinidad and Tobago cannot rely on policing alone to stem rising crime. He said years of enforcement-heavy responses have failed to address the root causes of violence, particularly among vulnerable youth.
Recognize that you cannot shoot your way out of the situation where crime and criminality is concerned. It's a very demanding, challenging situation. But when we looked at it, we recognized there was an urgent need for at least one of the ministries who has the ultimate responsibility for crime and criminality to take that step to have engagements with very key stakeholders.
He was speaking following a recent national multi-sector symposium that brought together psychologists, educators, health officials, social workers, and police to rethink crime prevention strategies. A central theme of the discussions, he said, was the state's duty to treat violence as a symptom of deeper psychological and social harm.
There was a clear expression of the importance of the right to health. Mm-hmm. And the right to health, looking at the state's responsibility to fulfill that right to health. So when we spoke about the biopsychosocial context, looking at crime and criminality from that context, immediately you are looking at the human being. And, you know, can I link it? Yeah. The ocelot that we saw a while ago, you saw the efforts that doctors and experts were applying to ensure that an animal recovered. Yeah. And I need to make this comparison. Our human beings, our vulnerable youths, they are injured in different ways.
In other news, as Lent heightens demand for fish as a preferred meat alternative, rough seas and strong winds are leaving stores in Carenage sparsely stocked and prices climbing. A hazardous seas alert has also forced many fishing vessels to remain anchored, limiting daily catches and straining supply just as demand peaks. Fisherfolk say this period of the year typically brings challenges, but this season has proven especially difficult. The reduced catch has translated directly to higher prices, with some fish varieties now selling for as much as $50 per pound, well above average. Fishermen attribute the spike not only to scarcity, but also dangerous waters, which further limit how often they can head out to sea.
Well, this season now is the season which by the weather and the breeze does downsize the fish, make the fish less, because they don't come up with the weather. So for now, if you look around and you go and party in all the fish stores, you will see a little bit of fish. And until that season come and pass, it'll start back like probably after the Easter.
In sport, after losing a crucial match last week, the University of the West Indies A team must defeat the University of the Southern Caribbean in their Round 4 match in Legacy Basketball Invitationals this evening, in hopes of advancing to the playoffs. The two sides will meet at UWI's Sport and Physical Education in St. Augustine from 7 p.m. In the evening's second game, we'll see New Chapter Academy Warriors taking on the undefeated Southside Elite. Having clinched their spot in the playoffs last week, Southside will be hoping to finish the group phase flawless. Southside versus New Chapter is carded for a tip-off time of 8:45. And that was your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. From the entire team here, have a great day.
At 7, TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Inspired by actual events.
My daughters used to think our family was bigger, all because my bill was late.
Meet Johnny. When his electricity bill didn't arrive on schedule, life for him involved a lot of searching.
Bill? Anybody see my bill? Hello? Bill?
Luckily, Johnny's older daughter helped him take charge of his life by signing him up for TNTech's free online e-bill service.
I'm not computer savvy yet, but this online thing, real easy. In less than 10 minutes we finish. Now, I get my bill on time, every time. Hey, I might be old school, but I'm feeling light years ahead. And now, my daughters no longer think they have a missing brother named Bill. Thanks, TNTech.
Visit ttec.co.tt to sign up for e-billing today. TNTech, the power to make it work.
The Trinidad and Tobago online arrival and departure card platform will go live on March 17, 2026. This secure platform can be accessed at travel.gov.tt. It is free, convenient, and required information can be completed within a few minutes. Passengers must create an account using a valid email address to access the portal, which will be available 72 hours prior to travel. The online arrival and departure card is a mandatory declaration for all international passengers and replaces the former process of filling a paper form. To complete the online arrival and departure card, each traveler must have flight information, a valid passport, and must upload a picture of the passport biodata page. Receipts for immigration and customs containing a QR code will be generated upon submission. Download and save the receipts, which will also be sent via email. Edits can be made to the declaration prior to the day of travel. However, if any changes are required on the day of travel, passengers must complete a new online arrival and departure card. The QR code may be required before boarding and must be presented to officials upon arrival and departure. A transformative travel experience awaits. This was a production of the Information Division, Office of the Prime Minister.
Talk City 91.1 FM. Talk.
Cabinet has approved the establishment of the regulatory framework for the registration and management of classic, antique, and vintage vehicles in Trinidad and Tobago.
Music.
culture.
We are now in a state where I can now proudly announce that our gas production will increase by a significant amount given all the various projects that are now expected to come online.
Engaging conversations, latest news, our music. This is Talk City 91.1 FM.
This launch is not just about technology, it is about confidence, transparency, and partnership.
The Ministry of Health has taken a significant step towards strengthening pharmaceutical oversight with the launch of its new electronic drug database, a system designed to centralize information on registered pharmaceutical products in Trinidad and Tobago. Speaking at the official launch, Minister of Health, Dr. The Honorable Lakram Budo, described the initiative as a long-awaited improvement in the management of drug registration records. According to the minister, the launch marks an important milestone in our collective effort to modernize health systems and to strengthen regulatory oversight in Trinidad and Tobago.
For decades, information on registered pharmaceutical products was maintained across multiple sources, gazette notices, internal regulatory records, and other archives. So, while these mechanisms would have served their purpose, they often pose challenges for accessibility, verification, and efficiency. Recognizing this, the ministry has taken deliberate steps to consolidate validated records into a centralized electronic drug database.
Minister Budo highlighted the objectives of the initiative.
Now, this initiative has three clear objectives. The first will be to establish a structured and searchable repository of pharmaceutical products registered in Trinidad and Tobago. Another objective would be to improve internal record management and regulatory oversight within the Ministry of Health. And of course, this will also allow us to facilitate verification of registered pharmaceutical products by relevant stakeholders.
The database is grounded in the provisions of the Food and Drugs Act, Chapter 3001, and includes only products that have been formally authorized through the regulatory process and published via official gazette notices. Minister Budo emphasized that the system will continue to expand as additional records are incorporated, describing the launch as an important first step in strengthening the country's pharmaceutical regulatory framework. The minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to building modern, transparent, and efficient health systems that better serve healthcare professionals, industry stakeholders, and the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
This was a production of the Information Division, Office of the Prime Minister.
Voices you know, trust, and respect of the very best in talk. Talk City 91.1.
This is Destra. And right now you're listening to Talk City 91.1. Keep it locked.
The ground report, the ground report.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin.
The ground report, the ground report.
I would think that there's been very clear that all the employees of Petrotrin will exit the company. All.
The ground report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Join Andy Williams and Lennox Smith, the ground report team, as they rip apart the lies, half-truth, and misinformation that the mainstream media never discuss. The Ground Report. Hard-hitting, informative, undiluted, uncompromising, and unfiltered. Monday to Friday. Get the raw facts before making any life-changing decisions. Only on The Ground Report.
We are back. Time check. It's 13 minutes past your 8 o'clock. Yeah, and listening to the Ground Report. And let me say a pleasant good morning to Roshan Babwa, chairman of WASA. And Lennox Smith, you'll meet
a good man, a very good man.
I know.
We have had some very, very good days, and I expect that there will be much more in the pipeline.
So make sure you're supposed to make sure and give him a call on Monday, please God, where we need to meet, because remember we getting a lot of complaints about water situations all over. So that meeting will be important.
Miss Santa Cruz notwithstanding, she just calling.
Water problems up there in Santa Cruz.
But I'm sure that because of the nature of the guy, he reminds me pretty much of myself, where of course he would extend and go beyond the call of duty to assist. So I have extreme confidence that the response will be viable, will be positive, and that solutions will be made, even though of course it will take time. But the fact is that he will respond. I could put my neck on a block for that one. That being as it may, Andy, notice, of course, and I want to let the population understand that we here on the Ground Report is all about information purity, information distilling, for you to get the best. Now, notice how I coined the question to Mr. Ali, who was just here. I read from a document. I didn't tell him what the document was, but I outlined, of course, the whole question of employment, the whole question of infrastructure, like what we just talked about, water, etc. And we talk about, of course, healthy living, etc. And afterwards, when he agreed that those are fundamentals to making certain that sustainable development, sustainable response to crime and criminality, these factors are very, very crucial. And then I told him that I was reading from the Zoso bill. And then, of course, he went on to not only endorse, but also made some additional points to show how viable and how durable that is for sustainable reduction in crime and criminality and in the advancement of the society.
Nice.
I want you, don't lose that, people. Don't lose it. Because yesterday, people were saying that gone. But I also want to puncture the conscience of both the PNM and the independent senators that when this opportunity comes again, if it does, whenever, that you do the right thing in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago and our young people in particular. Go ahead, Andy.
Nice. Oh boy, let me get on to some voice notes. We'll take some calls after.
Andy, morning. Now, I don't understand, boy. Imagine all the time, the PNM people that had to issue the radar. When they're moving the radar, they have a problem with it. You know the radar gone now. They have a problem now that the radar gone. What you can really do to please people, boy? What does them PNM people really want?
Morning to the Ground Report. You know what I realized lately? The PNM want this country to govern the way they want it to go. They want it in their direction. And this is what we have a problem with. Because if they really wanted to do something for the people and concern about the people, when last a PNM minister raised an issue in the parliament concerning one of the 13 constituencies? 13 seats to have. Listen in the parliament. Is anyone of them concerned about what it is taking place within the constituency about now else more than trying to create an environment with a Kamala hater position, hate UNC and hate Kamala, but they leave the people behind. So you activists, you counselors who are aspiring to be counselors, you community leaders, let me tell you all something. Look into that 13 seats with the PNM and try to get yourself away from that madness, because they are in a position to lobby for the development and the growth of the constituency and the country by extension, the opposition MPs. So don't let them sit down there and just try to create bacchanal and have the bloggers running behind them and feel the country heading in a good direction. It ain't so.
Morning, nobody here. So the busman is at it again, so nobody's going to have to correct him again. The Iwo Jima amphibious ready group is in the Caribbean. That's the Iwo Jima. That's a small aircraft carrier, over 30 aircraft on board. 2 transport docks, amphibious transport docks, Fort Lauderdale, San Diego. Cruisers, 2 guided cruisers, Gettysburg and Lake. About 4 destroyers, and the rest are supply ships. 11 ships in total, 10,000 Navy and Marines, right? Of which 4,500 of them are Marines. So don't believe me? Go Google it yourself. You know, the busman has its ideological position. He said we should have stuck with China and Russia. And they couldn't protect Venezuela from the US. You think but the point is the US has no aggression against Trinidad and Tobago. All right. In fact, they demonstrated that they were protecting us because that's what that radar is about. They say the radar leaving. And some people are thinking, well, the US has abandoned us. No. The mission for that radar is over. The mission of that radar, I told you all, was counter battery fire. Just in case Venezuela got fresh and launched anything at Trinidad, that thing would have been able to detect something the size of a golf ball and shoot it down. And, you know, Busman talked about we launched attacks from Trinidad. Allegedly. He used the word allegedly. Wrong, lie. You know when he should have used the word allegedly? When he said that the oil that left Venezuela, that Trump captured, went in his bank account. And he quoted CNN, of all people, saying, well, they are the most biased. Yes, they are the most biased against Trump. So when the lawsuit comes for CNN, what Busman have court closed, right? So the Iwo Jima's group, where the group is here, it's still here, and it will continue its mission. What Busman will think is that it needs to be right next against the coast to do its mission. No, it could be anywhere in the Caribbean and be quite effective at its mission, launching drones and airplanes and whatnot, helicopters to intercept who it intercept from hundreds of miles away. What will stop, and what the US say we're going to be easing up on is sinking the drug boats, because they are now putting that mission on the Venezuelan government, who are supposed to be on side. Now, of course, if they don't, they'll get back to doing it, I guess. But here's the thing, people. Busman is trying to make you believe that we are not going to benefit anything from all of this. But here's the proof that we are. It's that iron mill that is setting up in the industrial estate. That demonstrates these foreign companies know that Trinidad and Tobago is about to explode, is about to benefit massively and be about to become a hub of industry, and they want to get in early. That iron mill is extremely high energy, requiring a lot of gas, a lot of energy, a lot of electricity, and they know that Trinidad is going to have that in spades, and they want to get in now. That demonstrates, more than anything else so far, that we are going to benefit from what we have done and who we have aligned with.
Morning, Andy. Morning. Listen, I listen to Busman. I am no comment. Let's say we want to say. But I hope you don't get in trouble with that station, okay? All right? I hope you not get into trouble because they're listening. Anyway, Busman is not Busman. And who is Busman? Busman is for a Spain car park man. That who is Busman. Changing him to Busman. Alright? I only give him now. Busman is for a Spain guy. That's why you don't hear him anymore? That's it. Andy, good morning again. I listened to Mr. Ali. He's totally right. A child who sees something at home does the same thing in school. Not all of them. I'm saying majority of the kids that see what the parents do at home, they bring it in school or they bring it in a committee. Charge the parent. Do an investigation and charge them. I'm agreeing with it. That's how it is supposed to be. Once child is underage, charge the parent. Let him pay the penalty and he will seal that back up himself. But again, you have children making children. You see? Children making children, teenager girls making children. And they're still a child. So when they can teach them? I don't know what's telling you, man.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Guys, you know, I think it is about time that the law in this land starts showing the criminals who is boss, you know. Andy and Lennox, imagine in a state of emergency, you have 6 murders over the weekend. You have these hooligans still invading people's homes. They're making it plain for even the blind to see that they ain't afraid nobody. They have no respect for the law. And you know why? You know why? Because it's just talk, and no serious actions. They getting away with it. Why they don't stop? You know, somebody in this country, in authority, have to do something about this bail bill. The criminals know if they hold them in the morning, somebody posting bail and they're getting away in the evening, and by the night they're doing the same thing again. We can't be doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting to get different results. When you know they call the case, and you know something, Chief Justice will sing. I mean, they say you just got there, so you can't fix everything. But the law association, everybody, so all you have mouth to do, not the Chief Justice, the rest of them, is to criticize the UNC and the ministers when they try to fix things. All you have the power, change the laws, so that these criminals will know that there are consequences for the action. All who killing people ain't want nobody to kill them. All who raping people and going in their house and attacking them and beating them, they don't want nobody to do them that. So the problem in this country is no serious, immediate consequences for wrongdoing. You understand? And if we here, the law enforcement and whoever in the judiciary, whoever in charge, if they can't do it, forget all your ego. Let me call for international help. Rowley did bring them from Britain for the drug susu. He bring them from Barbados. You're here for the same stupid drug susu. So let me bring them here now to deal with this serious, with this critical crime situation that we have in this country. Time for talk to done. Action. Who vex the vex. Blessings.
Morning to the ground report. Andy Williams, Anna Smith, Heidi Kerr, wherever you are, have a blessed morning. Welcome back on this show this morning. By the power of the Almighty God and His wonderful Son, Jesus Christ, that He bless you all and protect you all and your families and all the callers as well. Marvelous, Marvin, you playing the detective for UNC, and you're the detective. You want to know everything. You want answers and you want information. You're the big interested man now. You're interested in everything the UNC doing. And you tell Rowley not to bring Maduro and the entourage here. They'll see what you care. They didn't tell not to bring them here. Concerning COVID, did you tell Rowley not to bring, not to close down the refinery? Did you tell him not to close down the refinery? You tell him all that. When Stuart Young, just before election, you tell him not to take out the $500,000. And you tell him both to come and answer to the country. Is alleged the money that he accusing the Auditor General and Bolin a computer error. and they say she had been investigated, and they tell that man in boot to come clear, and they pull upon all of them in the opposition when they was there, or the wrong thing they was doing. Eh? You tell them that. You tell them that end. But you're playing detective for UNC now. You want to know everything. Check yourself out first now. Before you try to get onto UNC back. Okay? There's a certain person take out 3 million from WASA. When they was working in WASA and send somebody to put it on their account. You know who do that? Marvelous Maba, you know who do that? You know all who touch the public post? You know anything about CPEP and URP? All who hand dip into the cookie jar? All the contractors who take big junk is alleged. And you know the country run, and you know PNM on the country, you warn them and tell them what to do them thing. Or you're playing now detective. Search yourself first, examine yourself first, and examine all them evil opposition who inside the whole PNM was pretending they're running the country and run it down to nothing. Investigate the PNM before you start on UNC, Get your facts straight. Right? You're singing upside down and you're talking upside down. Check the PNM good. Probably go right down, all of them. What they do with the money in the cookie jar, all who was in the cookie jar. You understand? The man who called himself the doctor, he never paid the suppliers for the medical for the country here. You understand? Check them out now, man. Check out all the things to do before you open your mouth. Yeah? Don't talk backwards. You're talking backwards right now.
Andy, good morning again to you and to everybody out there. Andy, when Shane was sharing Camille Robinson Regis, Bolmati, and the PNM FAB went last for Shane. Imagine this lady calling Kamala a witch and ridiculing her with the pen. Kamala got a pen. What did Rowley get for 16 million? Absolutely. What? A 2-second phone call, a 1-second phone call? Trump didn't even want to see him around him. And you're ridiculing the lady. Yes, she will turn it into a one. Wait and you will see. And I want you to remember one thing when you see her calling her witch. That witch never had money in her handbag and refused to declare a source of income with the bank. So all you continue pulling her down, and the more you're pulling her down, like air, she will rise. Thanks a lot.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Nice. We go for a break and come back. When we come back, we're going to take your calls now. I've already played all those voice notes. Let's take that needed break.
Your news, anytime, anywhere. TTT News brings you the facts that matter most, on air and online. TTT News, nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Is your business experiencing the following symptoms? Not enough customers, no sales, slow cash flow. It's time for your business to be seen and heard by thousands of potential customers inside this new, exciting television and social media feature.
Welcome.
The 1020 with Junior K. Up for this exciting challenge and confident about your business? If you are, the 1020 feature is just for you. It's where you give your customers 10 reasons in 20 seconds why they should shop by you. This fun-filled feature will be captured, packaged, and aired on television and promoted on social media simultaneously. Small, medium, and large businesses call or WhatsApp 764-3378 or 313-4215. Let's feature your business. 1020 with Junior K. It's affordable, effective, and fun.
Have you tuned into Reggae Love each week on Sweet 100? Well, Thursday, March 19, 6 p.m., you can enjoy live. South Trinidad Sweet 100 is stepping out of the speakers and into the lobby restaurant and lounge at Paria Suites in San Fernando. Get ready for Reggae Love Live. Vibe with your favorite hosts and DJs as they celebrate reggae anthems and sweet lovers rock all night long. The best part? It's free. It's Reggae Love Live, Thursday, 19th March at the Lobby Restaurant and Lounge. Be there.
The Trinidad and Tobago online arrival and departure card platform will go live on March 17, 2026. This secure platform can be accessed at travel.gov.tt. It is free, convenient, and required information can be completed within a few minutes. Passengers must create an account using a valid email address to access the portal, which will be available 72 hours prior to travel. The online arrival and departure card is a mandatory declaration for all international passengers and replaces the former process of filling a paper form. To complete the online arrival and departure card, each traveler must have flight information, a valid passport, and must upload a picture of the passport biodata page. Receipts for immigration and customs containing a QR code will be generated upon submission. Download and save the receipts, which will also be sent via email. Edits can be made to the declaration prior to the day of travel. However, if any changes are required on the day of travel, passengers must complete a new online arrival and departure card. The QR code may be required before boarding and must be presented to officials upon arrival and departure. A transformative travel experience awaits. This was a production of the Information Division, Office of the Prime Minister.
This is Destra, and you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City. Keep it locked. Bang, 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 bang.
The Ground Report with Andy Williams and Lennox Smith.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are back, we are back, we are back. Time check. It's about 35 minutes past your overs. 8 o'clock. And you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City 91.1 FM. You're also listening and viewing the Ground Report on our several social media platforms. And you know them at Talk City 91.1 FM on Facebook.
Yes, we have a
and
call,
on
so
YouTube.
we'll interrupt you a bit because, of course, the callers are always priority. Good
Go
morning.
ahead.
Welcome to the Ground Report. Good morning.
Good morning to the Ground Report.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mr. Smith, especially.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Smith, yesterday, I listened to Marvin Gonzalez, and I could say PNM people gone mad, boy. Marvin Gonzalez and them scraping the bottom of the barrel to get this thing what to make a molasses to make a tulum, boy. Let me tell you something now. I don't know how Trinidad make up there, but Marvin Gonzalez says something there on the Morning Blue that the UNC $17 million they get from criminal element in Grandy. Well, I say Andy's supposed to be real on top because he was in Grandy with God, right? $17 million. He get that information when he was in the Minister of National Security, right? He said in Tunapuna and all criminal element with Roger Alexander and them, and today they can't even walk the ground, right? That is what Marvin Gonzalez said no. So, and he said the PNM could have do the same thing because they asked them, and the PNM said no, we're not doing that with no criminal element. Otherwise, they could have win the election. You understand? And just yesterday, they saying the PNM supporters didn't turn out to vote. That's why they lose the election. And now they're saying it's criminal element that helped the USC to win the election. I don't know where our law is, how our law make up. Marvin Gonzalez is supposed to be facing the police today. When you say them kind of things, right? You're not supposed to say things like that and go away and sleep comfortably in your bed. I just waiting for the police to go and investigate this because he get it from National Security when he was there in National Security before the election, right? So Mr. Marvin Gonzalez have something to answer to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I have to say this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sandy Jones, a pleasant good morning to you. Where you at? Let me take this caller. Go ahead, caller. Morning.
Good morning, Andy. Lennox, Snipes. Morning. Andy, coming again. Here I come again, man. I'll be this like a road march. When they're burning the guns and the drugs, Andy, we want to see them burn the guns and the drugs. I'll be playing this like a road march, you know, Andy. I'll beat it because they have to do something about that.
Wow.
You understand, Andy? They have to do something about that. We want the drugs and the guns burnt publicly. Publicly, we want to see those, because those guns coming back on the streets, Andy, they're coming back on the streets. So we want to see that and the drugs burnt. I'll be playing it like a road march. Thank you.
At least, Andy, you have to credit the guy for consistency, not like the Busman Mako, where, of course, he has now metamorphosized into a geopolitical expert, but only figments of his imagination he could project to the population. Yeah, I think the last caller, you have to commend him for consistency. Of course, you can't say the same for Busman the Busmako.
Yeah, but expert or ex-clong? You know, all right. Anyhow, who is
I don't want to use ex with clown because it will assume that he's a former clown. And no, he is an existential clown.
Oh my gosh. Anyhow, who is the people responsible to for that shut to call? Because he be like a road march, and if we can make representation, whether it be with Homeland Security Minister, who we have to make a
Homeland Security would I assume would be responsible for that. And I want to tell you that I have Mr. Ali said that he would want to meet with me as expeditiously as possible. He wasn't aware that I would have been part and parcel with Gavin Hira in the formation of the National Operations Center. So he said that he'd want to meet as quickly as possible. So I think that issue could be raised with him, and I'm sure that he has the ears of certain important element decision makers, and I think that should be easily addressed and make it public, because one of the things the caller is calling for is to make it public. You don't want to say that you come tomorrow and say so much of these things were destroyed, and next thing there is no evidence of it.
All right, make sure when you go and see he on that there that I am in part of that contingency. All right.
Well, of course, the ground report has created that environment, and we, just as we are appealing to the business community to advertise with us, it is a two-way street, and in the interest of reciprocity, meaning that we provide you with all the information that is required, you provide us with some resources, financial resources, pay for advertisement, in other words, and you reach, of course, the millions that we talk to and communicate with on a daily basis.
Nice. Go ahead, caller. Pleasant good morning to you.
Morning, Andy. Morning.
Mr. Controversy.
I want to find out something. How come when the UNC in power always had to be begging for ads on a public radio station, whether it was private or just asking for ads, now all in the mainstream or they're begging for ads? Why nobody don't like, even when they don't want to, even on Iowa station and all, they're begging for ads, nobody don't want, why is it that on the other stations ads running normal, but on the government station that, people have to be begging for ads, or they come and advertise. Nobody don't want to deal up with the government, not to say the poor in power, because they have money paying them to it. The government station always under pressure, they didn't have no money. That is TTT, the company. Never had no money, because sometimes I may watch TTT. I'm really not a fan of TTT because they don't really show nothing really entertaining. I think that's supposed to change. Really and truly, they don't have anything entertaining for the public to watch, right? For the public to listen to besides this Talk City, okay, but the other radio stations, they don't really have nothing enticing to listen to or to view on TV, whether it's Channel 4 or TTT, and this is from my personal experience, they don't have nothing really besides Playway to really watch on TV. That people will say, okay, we carry this to this, so we will advertise. Right? The talk radio might still get a little thing because people, people like to listen to the little politics and the little talk. I find we should not be begging for ads. People supposed to come in for a government radio station. Anyhow, besides the point, people too, always seeing Andy don't want to have nothing with Grandy. Or they leave Andy out of the Grandy. Please, Andy don't know nothing in Grandy. What's going on? Leave Andy out of Grandy now. He say that he ain't know nothing besides what's going on in the news. Leave Andy out of Grandy. But that is what I was really calling for.
Boy, you have an advocate, boy. And you see
leave Andy out of Grandy. Let's see what's going on in Grandy. Andy on the part of Grandy.
But on the previous matter, however, however, I want to tell you that yes, you are quite correct. We know that as well. But as a committed group of individuals, and I think all the other presenters are so committed, you would see, of course, a paradigm shift, a metamorphosis that we are trying, and a culture that we are trying to create where the station or the entity relies less on the treasury or the public purse, and that it could at least partially in the initial stage pay its way. Notice you have to start somewhere, because clearly you have said that we have inherited a doldrum, so to speak, of non-economic or financial contribution other than public goods. Yeah. So we are in the nascent stage. As soon as that builds, you will hear us.
You will see.
No longer beseeching. All right.
Right. But when you talk about we mentioned there too, and you have to understand, back then when we was private, businesses didn't want to attach themselves because they don't want to be victimized by the PNM.
Yes.
What them promoting there, boy? Okay. So they didn't want to be victimized on the ground.
But we also had, but we were also at another disadvantage. We didn't have the support of, let's say, a godfather, as this entity has, such as the treasury of the country. We had to pay our way. We had to work our way. Yes. So it's a big difference. So we have a platform from which to make certain that the entity turns into a financially viable radio proposition, or should I say media proposition.
One more quick thing I wanted to say. I think was Ms. Woodbrook, she was asking about the bail bill. She had to remember Mr. Anna Ramglong and his client carried this bail thing straight to Privy Council, and they won their case. So it's nothing really that the government, I mean, how much tweaks the government could make with this bail bill because of that ruling. Any Privy Councils where murderers and all are entitled because of their constitutional rights to get bail. There's nothing really much they could do with that bail bill again that I'm looking at because of that ruling in the Privy Council where out of the murderers could get bail. I don't think the country could do anything much more in tweaking the bail bill. They might be able to put in
I agree with you in entirety. So you are sold on that. You have a converted supporter.
You're not controversial this morning. Go ahead, next caller. Morning.
Good morning.
Andy, Mighty K. Lennox Smith, and Tobago Central here. Pleasant. Good morning. Andy,
morning, you know long I hear you. Go ahead, Central.
Yes, I know that. But trust me, every God make a willing day. You all are getting the support from us. 100% more. You understand? We always locked on and listening. Remember, I say you all is our breakfast in the morning time. Without breakfast, they can't function, you know. You understand? So going forward, Andy, my little friend, when I issue short and sweet, I would like to ask, right? What is really going on in this place when it comes to crime? Because it's something really out of hand, and it's really coming to a cutoff. It continuously getting more and more worse every God make a day. Right, Trinidad and Tobago? Because here what's going on. The question is today is that when you get to the bottom of it, and I'll always say, thank God to Mr. Allen, God really bless you. He's 1 out of 1 million. You understand? If it wasn't for this man in this country, Trinidad and Tobago, how much crime would I really be solved in this country, boy? Let me be real in this place. Yes, you like your glamour thing, you like your ranking thing, whatever, but so be it. He's a man really doing it on the grounds right now. Let me give kudos and jack for jacket. You understand what I'm saying? Long story short, Andy, when the man gets to the bottom of these things and he investigate the whole scene, hear what's going on. You see the people who committing this kind of crime, is who have attorney family, who have police family, who have lawyer family, who have magistrate family. What is the outcome and the circumstances of this Trinidad and Tobago when they reach this kind of level? Because so many times on his program, he investigating and when he gets to the bottom of it, it's this one have this one family working in high places, so they're getting cover to cover the tracks. What really going on in this place, Trinidad and Tobago? How are we going to really start to clean up this mess? We really have to get to the bottom of this. And this is something administration have to look into this. You understand? Because look right now, this man will get bounced on sometime back then, right? When Ian Allen investigated the man working for one of the Brian Manning, an employee of Brian Manning office, right? I think he bring out some press release saying that he wanted to have no part in that and whatever the case is. When you look sharp, you hear the man wife is a police. She covering up his tracks. Ian Allen carrying the mirror, the glass of the mirror and showing the glass damage on the car. And this is the evidence of what bongs on the man. You know what they're saying? There's not enough evidence. And the man fighting for his life in the hospital right now. What really going on in this place, Trinidad and Tobago? How are we really cleaning up this mess? They have to do a real serious thing concerning about all them services and them by, because these people and them taking a position and power and abusing it. And this is something has to stop because a repeat taking place. No wonder why civilian getting uniform to go and do dirty, corrupted work in this country. You see where it's stemming from? It's a little common sense and book sense, you know. You understand what we're saying? What is I trying to say, Trinidad and Tobago? This is something we really have to get to the bottom of. Because if this continue going on, we wouldn't reach nowhere. We'll be spinning top in mud.
So true.
You understand? And we have to get to the bottom of it. At the end of the day, we have administration there right now. And thank God they're starting to dig into things. And they really have to get to the bottom of this. Other than that, we go nowhere in this country. And thank God for the analysis and this. That thing is continuously being highlighted. And people can really understand what's sweeping under the carpet. We're just in the 3rd month in this year. And we done this 72 murders. That's will never accept that in this place because here why I'm telling you that sounding good and it's looking good. Trinidad and Tobago, let's see something, say something, because crime is everybody business right now. You understand? Look down and listen, Andy, and you don't know Central, and it's that.
Let's go for that quick break and come back. When we come back, more right here on the Gong Report. We'll be back.
Your news, anytime, anywhere. TTT News brings you the facts that matter most, on air and online. More ways to stay informed. TTT News covers the stories that matter. Join us nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
South Trinidad, we're turning up the love on Thursday, March 19th, the night before the holiday. Sweet 100.1 FM brings you Reggae Love Live. And we're taking over the lobby in South Trinidad for one unforgettable night. Enjoy big reggae anthems, sweet lovers rock, and so much more. Pure reggae vibes all night long. This is your midweek escape, your reason to step out and feel irie.
Before you pull that trigger, hate to see when you become friend killer.
Bring your crew, bring your energy, bring your best vibes, because we're lighting up the launch with music you know and love. Admission is free, so no excuses. Thursday, March 19th at the lobby. This is Reggae Love Live. One love, one launch, 100.
Any views or opinions expressed on the Ground Report are solely those of the hosts and callers and do not represent the views, policies, or official position of Talk City 91.1, its management, or affiliates.
This is Destra, and you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City. Keep it locked. Bang, 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 bang.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are back, we are back, we are back. Time check. It's 7 minutes to the hour, yes. To the hour to 9 o'clock. So don't forget, coming up next, that big program right after the Ground Report. Off the record with yours truly, Mistakes and Stefan Rees. So don't forget, don't switch that dial at all. I'm organizing this play some of those voice notes.
But I noticed, Andy, that Philip Alexander is under the poison or the venom of the PNM. I think in this case is Randall Mitchell, who saw his vehicle parked in a handicap spot.
Boy, look at what that must be. Why what's that now? I say, but wait. Look at how
like these days, like the ubiquitous, they're all over the place. The omnipresence, they're all over the place. And of course, but it is amazing that it is initiated by them themselves.
Yeah, boy.
You know, not by an ordinary person. They want people to know it is them who, of course, I have identified the whatever infringement in their minds that might have occurred.
But here, why watch out?
But of course, but I hold no brief for Philip. But I think it was his explanation was justifiable. He said that of course there was a restaurant that was opened by one of the what we normally will consider a one percenter, and they occupied most of the car parks. But it was two paraplegic or handicapped spots, and the security guard told him, "Listen, the car park is filled, so you could use that for the time being and go and transact what you have to transact." Of course, Wendell, I believe, had a duty to, since he was so concerned in the public's interest, at least ask Philip, "Listen, you know, how you could park there," and so on. And he might have gotten that explanation. But he didn't want that because it was opportunistic parasitism. That is what that was about. Political gains.
What I watch
have turned out to be spitting in the sky and falling in his face. Because nobody takes him seriously. Go ahead.
Why watch out with all of that is that look at how the opposition, the 13 of them, will come to bring to light all kind of thing. You know it's almost a year, and I haven't saw them bring anything to light when it coming to their constituency and constituents and improving their constituency and constituents and them people like them don't interested in their constituency and constituents. Them just on everything else. Everything I've been bringing to light for the past almost a year now, by whether it be Penny Beckles, this one, that one, but I highlight the things that their constituency in dire need of. Not a word. Wait a second. Let me play this voice. No, they're quick, boy.
Yeah, well, we said that a person who does the same thing over and over and expect a different result, and of course they believe that will work for them. They have not recognized that Tobago has gone and Trinidad is going 2/3, nearly 3/4 gone already, and they are still there in a paradigm, what is called paralysis. Nice. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, good morning, Andy, Mr. Lennox, and all the persons on the ground report. So I try to understand what really going on with the PNM and them, you know. Because first of all, Mr. Marvin Gonzalez in the parliament going on and on and on about the radar and saying that, the radar making Tobago be a target for the enemies, and the Prime Minister endangering the lives of citizens by having the radar here and the U.S. troops. Now that the radar is gone and the U.S. troops is gone, all of a sudden now they have a problem. Like, what going on with these people? You know, I convinced that in order to be a PNM, like, you have to have a half of a brain cell. And as for Mr. Busman, I want you to know and understand that you see you calling all them communist countries there. I want you to know that you see the freedom that you have now, that you could call on the radio station and be critical of this government. Those are some of the freedoms that you wouldn't have in some of those countries that you call there. Because I could guarantee you call and criticize the government, you and your family will be wanting to know which patch is, because it will disappear. Yeah, what I'm telling you, be careful what you ask for.
Good morning, Andy, to you and to everybody out there again. Andy, I keep hearing everybody beating this drum about murderers getting bail because Ann and Ram Logan went to the Privy Council and whatever. I want to know if they did a poll And if they did it, come and tell us now how many murderers, people on murder charge got bail. Tell us. Because getting bail, apparently they didn't read that part of the clause. It's up to a judge in chamber. If the judge say yes, well, yes. If he said no, it's no. And as far as I know, right, as far as I understand, no, except for that first guy with Anand Ramlogan and them. And don't come just once you Anand Ramlogan. Do come now. You come to bring a point, bring across the whole point now. Don't come with your PNM propaganda with lies, half-truths, and innuendos. Don't do that. Tell the people why the demand was qualified for bail.
Nice, and we want to stop it there because it's 1 minute to the hour to 9 o'clock. Don't forget Corridor Transformation tonight at 8 p.m. Don't forget, you all could have choose anywhere else to lock on to. You all choose the Ground Report on Talk City 91.1 FM to lock on to. Thanks so much. Stay locked on to Mr. X and them. Off the record coming up next. So until tomorrow morning, please God, after God family comes first, be safe on the nation's roads. On behalf of the Ground Report team, yours truly, the Pitbull of Radio, are saying we are out of here.
Bang, bang, bang. Talk City 91.1 FM. Talk.
The cabinet has approved the increase in the permissible age of importation of foreign-use right-hand drive private cars, that's sports utilities, SUVs, sedans, and station wagons powered by gasoline, dieseline, or compressed natural gas, CNG, from 3 years to under 8 years and under from the date of manufacture.
Music. Culture.
As Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has announced recently with our revitalization master plan, we are open for business, and a key area, a key focus of that master plan is, of course, the energy sector and the energy hub. And we will be open for business, not only for Nutrien, but for all other players that wish to discuss their investment portfolio with us.
Engaging conversations, latest news, our music. This is Talk City 91.1 FM. Talk City 91.1. Thought-provoking conversations, bold perspectives, voices you trust. Talk City 91.1. Bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever before.
Yes, Talk City 91.1 FM.
A brand new era of talk radio is here. With voices you know, trust, and respect. Get ready for an all-new lineup of the very best in talk. Andy Williams, Lennox Smith, Stephen Reese, Mr. X, Derek Charbodi, Roland Stewart, Sharon Farfan, Sudath Prasad, Heavy Duty, Alex Asing, Karen Francisco, Cherry-Leen Lewis, Short Pants, and more of the voices shaping the national conversation. From hard-hitting current affairs to real community issues, culture, politics, social development, and the stories that matter most to you. This is where Trinidad and Tobago comes to talk.
It's all good right here on Talk City 91.1, where we're going to give you something new, something hot every day, Monday to Friday.
Listen on 91.1 FM and connect on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Talk City 91.1. Your city, your voice.
Your stories, your communities,